official World Cup coverage on
Mexico Radio 1. Brazil 2, Mexico 0. That means Mexico are out of the competition. Brazil through to the quarterfinals, and now it's time for our next week. Belgium and Japan.
The World Cup 2014 in Brazil.
Upbeat thinking, Nagatomo with the peroxide hair. Shoji, the centre-back, hits the diagonal ball to the edge of the area. Kagawa gets onto the clearance, works it onto his left foot, shoots! Low and left and just wide of Thibaut Courtois' left-hand post, and that is a bright start from Japan.
There's a really poor defensive header from Karaskov. A long diagonal ball, heads it down into Kagawa's pass. 22, 23 yards out, shifts it right foot onto left and just pulls it past Courtois' left-hand post.
Gone short with the goal kick, Belgium. Courtois to Vertonghen. Lukaku is beaten in the air on the halfway line. De Bruyne wins the next header. The ball is thumped up the middle. Nice little layoff from Osako. But then the pass back to him from Kagawa is over it, and the offside flag's gone up anyway. So Belgium will get a free kick, which Kompany will take quickly. Play a little 1-2 with Vertonghen. I mean, there is real talent and experience everywhere you look in this Belgian lineup.
Yeah, and I think it's a big risk pressing Belgium this high. You've got to be supremely organised. They'll play through you. They've got superior players, talented players, the likes of De Bruyne in midfield. We all know he can see a pass.
Kagawa plays a nice little 1-2 in midfield with Shibasaki, but again, offside flag goes up. Free kick, Belgium. Belgium 0, Japan 0. 2 minutes played in the first half here. Brazil 2, Mexico 0. Neymar and Firmino with the goals for Brazil, so they await in the quarterfinals for whoever wins this one. De Bruyne wants some early touches of the ball, comes running over to the right-hand touchline, right underneath the nose of his besooted manager, Roberto Martinez, arms crossed, watching as the ball is played back to Thibaut Courtois. He's got a very light, almost white goalkeeping uniform this evening with dark green sleeves. Just wonder whether he's put himself under a little bit of pressure in terms of his performance after what he said about Jordan Pickford and not being tall enough, and how he would have dealt with the Januzaj goal.
Yeah, 5'4.5". You weren't happy with that, Ali?
5'8". Thank you very much.
No, you're not.
Come on. De Bruyne in the white boots strokes a lovely pass out to the right-hand side. Thomas Meunier gets a first touch of the evening, plays one through the middle, bounces off Mertens. Lukaku sniffing danger. He's just beaten to the ball in the penalty area, and Japan get that clear, and it's a throw into Belgium on the right-hand side, which Meunier gets ready to take. Holds the ball high above his head. De Bruyne just runs short behind him. Throws in towards Witsel, who takes the ball on his chest off the bounce. Keeps it. Kagawa gently follows him across the half, about 10 yards inside the Belgian half. Loose pass from Vertonghen, who's given the ball away, tries to get back and make amends. He does so. Hazard's first touch of the evening, burst between two of the Japanese midfielders. Hasabi has brought him down, and Belgium get a free kick.
Yeah, as expected. It's really congested in that midfield area. I think Japan are going to say, Eden Hazard, we're not going to let you have space and time on the ball.
4 minutes play, BBC Radio 5 Live. Last 16 action, Japan trying to create history. They've been in the last 16 twice before, but beaten both times, so trying to get to the quarterfinals for the very first time. And Belgium trying to reach it, the quarterfinal stage, for the third time in their history, having been semi-finalists in 1986. Belgium are knocking the ball around, but Japan have forced them back. Japan are in the dark blue, and they're playing from right to left in this first half as we look at it. Kompany gets the ball across to Vertonghen, up the left-hand side. Carrasco is really well challenged there by Sakai, the Japanese right-back. He is then fouled, and he's made a busy, bustling start to the game on the right for Japan.
Yeah, and Japan have really aggressive. Don't let Belgium play and make easy passes. Nothing to lose, really. Japan never been past this stage before. I don't think anybody expects, but they are an experienced outfit.
They've taken the free kick. Maya Yoshida, plenty of our listeners at home this evening will know of him. Plays the ball forward. Kagawa's got it. Out on the right-hand side to Haraguchi. Haraguchi Playing back here to Sakai, the right back. Now Japan come back into midfield. Belgium have everyone behind the ball. Belgium 0, Japan 0. Hazard comes trotting across to cover a little pass forward. Carrasco heads it away. Here is Hazard. Again, darts into a little pocket of space, suddenly picks up speed and moves away from two would-be defenders. Gets the ball back, little 1-2 with Mertens. Hazard's now bouncing off challenges there, goes down, doesn't get the free kick, and Japan have it at the back with Yoshida.
Good signs though for Belgium. He looks in the mood. That little burst that he has, that acceleration, got away from a couple of the Japanese midfielders, tried a little 1-2 into Mertens.
Good start by Japan this, although that little layoff, well, it didn't quite go right first of all from Osako, but Kagawa got it via lucky deflection. They've come to the left-hand side. Here's the left back, Nagatomo. Wide for him is Inui, hugging the touchline, but he's played the ball back to the halfway line, and Hasebe. Now Shibasaki through the middle. Chasing down the left-hand side's Inui, gets there first, scuffs the cross. Alderweireld's there at the near post to clear for Belgium. Belgium 0, Japan 0. 6.5 minutes played. The ball has been more in the Belgian half so far than the Japan half, I would say. Japan have taken the throw. Nagatomo to the left. Here's Inui. Inui, who scored in the 2-2 draw against Senegal. Scored a couple of goals as well.
He's got real pace, hasn't he, on that left-hand side.
Right footer, Chris, who likes to cut in like, you know, lots of wingers will play nowadays. And he's really staying wide there, actually, on the left. Japan are knocking it around inside their own half. Yoshida now goes through a low ball up the middle of the pitch. It's laid off to Kagawa. Nicely done. Kagawa brings it 5 yards forward, plays it to Inui. Inui's into the penalty area here, running sideways to his right. Lays it back to Shibasaki. All the way back to Hasebe, who's one of these incredibly experienced Japanese internationals playing in central midfield, 34 years old. Plays his club football with Eintracht Frankfurt, winning his 114th cap for Japan this evening. And Japan actually, from rather a promising position, have come all the way back to their goalkeeper, Kawashima, who clears with his right foot. Vertonghen heads that away. Hazard tries to take that down on his right thigh, 10 yards inside the Japan half. It's taken away from him. Carrasco turns, looking for an option here, lays it back to Witsel, with the big bushy hair in central midfield, playing alongside Kevin De Bruyne. De Bruyne running to the left, Witsel to the right, Alderweireld on the ball, curls his pass away to Meunier, and here's an attacking opportunity for Belgium. Mertens in towards Lukaku. Lukaku just lays this off to the edge of the penalty area. Shot's not going to come in, laid off again to Mertens. Carrasco now trying to get there, and it's cleared, and the referee spotted a tug or a push or something he didn't like. A shirt pull there, I think, in the penalty area, and Japan have the free kick. Chris Sutton.
I think that's the danger when Japan, they pressed Belgium high up. They got out on the right-hand side, and Carrasco centrally took the wrong option. Hazard was wide open on the left-hand side, would have been in 1v1 situation, but came inside, and the chance was wasted.
By the way, something just to watch out for in our commentary this evening: Meunier, Vertonghen and De Bruyne, Chris, all on yellow cards. So if you've got a quarter-final coming up against Brazil, if they get through, let's not write off the underdogs, they would be huge losses, were that to happen.
And, you know, they certainly will be thinking about that situation.
Ball's nodded down to Kagawa here. Belgium with defending to do. Now played back to Hasebe. Hasebe across to Kagawa again. Just prompts Inui, who runs in off the left flank. Right-footed cross into the penalty area. Kompany heads it away. It was a good ball. Volleyed forward by Mertens. Little 1-2 with Lukaku. Run is well covered there. And then a long range shot from Gen Shoji, the centre-back. That was 50 yards out with his right foot. It's missed by a country mile.
45, I would say. But just previous to that, timely header from Vincent Kompany. Haraguchi had burst into the box. He just gets under it. Timely clearance from Kompany.
Alderweireld with his right foot. Long ball for Lukaku to chase down the right-hand side. Gen Shoji, who tried that long ranger, is with him. Lukaku just skips past him on his way into the penalty area. Left-footed ball's nice to Mertens. Mertens takes it and turns and lays it back to Vertonghen. 35 yards out. Belgium 0, Japan 0. De Bruyne floating the ball into the box. Mertens will chase it, and he just can't reach it as he stretches the left leg. The angle had got very tight, and the ball has gone behind for a goal kick to Japan.
De Bruyne is like a quarterback, isn't he? Gets the ball, and when he has time, as he does do centrally, gets his head up, and Mertens off the left-hand side this time. makes a run in behind, wasn't far away.
Interesting to watch in this first 10 minutes, sort of Belgium trying to get back in their rhythm. Eden Hazard made the point that when he's playing well, Chris, he doesn't like a break. It sort of ruins the continuity for him. Carrasco will be beaten in the air here. Kompany wins the next header, powers it forward to the halfway line. Hasabi nods it back. De Bruyne, I think, just got a little nudge there. He did, and he gets the free kick.
I think you're right. I think everybody's looking at that. A lot of players dropped for the England game. It's the same with England. People will be looking at Gareth Southgate's men tomorrow night and seeing if they've got that rhythm, which they had in the first couple of games.
Alderweireld plays the ball to the right-hand side. If you just tuned in, this is BBC Radio 5 Live. You probably enjoyed our coverage from Wimbledon this afternoon. First day of the Championships, still progressing. But we are in Rostov-on-Don this evening, which is the capital of southern Russia. This stadium pretty much on the banks of the Don. The Rostov Arena cost £250 million to get ready for this World Cup, but the airport, Chris, cost £500 million.
Yeah, and you think if you spend £500 million on an airport, you'd build it a little bit closer to the city, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's called Rostov Airport. It's a long way.
Well, it's not
Rostov.
actually called Rostov Airport, is it?
Oh no, it's not. Bother. Go on.
It's called Matvey Platov Airport, after the famous Don Cossack.
Yeah.
Ali.
Don't take Chris Sutton on his knowledge of Russia. He's absolutely right. Famous Cossack general who chased Napoleon out of the country many years ago. Meunier on the ball for Belgium, playing it back to Alderweireld. 12 minutes gone in the first half. Belgium 0, Japan 0. Hasabi lets the ball bounce twice, points to his goalkeeper Kawashima, who's winning his 88th cap this evening. 35 years old in this very experienced Japanese lineup. Very cool defending there as well from Yoshida, who obviously will know plenty of these Belgian players from encounters against them in the Premier League. And Kawashima, the goalkeeper, gets the ball again, puts his right foot through it up to the halfway line, and it breaks for Inouye. Inouye's little ball back to Shibasaki. Shibasaki plays it to the left, and Nagatomo back to Shibasaki, shirt untucked, dark black hair. Hasabi chipping one over the top. Inouye won't catch that, and it runs all the way through and behind for the goal kick to Belgium.
Show no fear, Japan, in the early stages. Been confident on the ball, aggressive with their pressing. But I think that's always dangerous against Belgium. The talent that they have.
Say that fortune favours the brave, or as they say in Russia, you've got to show courage to take the castle. Hazard's trying to win the ball back in the centre circle, just sneaking another little one in there while I've got
That's
time.
a good one.
That's what Japan have got to do tonight. Show courage to take the castle, to try and knock Belgium out of the World Cup and try and make their first ever World Cup quarter-final. De Bruyne's first time pass, releases Hazard. Hazard suddenly picks up pace on his way, chased by 3 Japanese players, lays it off to his right-hand side. Mertens, good spot from Mertens, sees Carrasco 25 yards out, rolls the ball under his right foot. Risky challenge on him in the penalty area. He stayed on his feet. He's got 2 men on him at the moment. Gets his cross in, that gets blocked, and De Bruyne can't get there. It's cleared up to the centre forward on the halfway line. That's Asako, who does a good job for Japan there. Carrasco.
I think Haraguchi got lucky in the box, going to ground with Carrasco. I think the referee played an advantage there.
We'll have another little look on our video monitor when we get a chance. Asako, meanwhile, has won a free kick for Japan on the right-hand side. Tiny touch on the ball.
Well, I think Carrasco does really well in that situation to stay on his feet. A lot of players, and I won't name them, would have gone down.
Ball forward for Japan, long one for Inouye to chase, and Courtois in the perfect position on the edge of his penalty area, giant of a figure in the black goalkeeping gloves. Bowls the ball out, underarm. Kim Clijsters was telling us from the Wimbledon coverage that Thibaut Courtois, I think, used to play football in her back garden, is quite a useful tennis player, and with that height you'd imagine he'd be good at the net. Meunier flicks it forward, Hazard brings it down, on the run, forced out to the right-hand side of the penalty area, looking for an option. Hazard keeps it, defenders chasing it. Lays off to Witsel, who shoots, takes a little deflection, I think, yes, over the bar, behind for a corner. Belgium 0, Japan 0.
Every time Eden Hazard gets the ball, he looks a danger, looks a threat. Unselfish, feeds the ball across the box to Witsel. Left foot, good strike, slight deflection, goes over the bar.
Brazil 2, Mexico 0. If you haven't heard from earlier on today, that's why the winners of this one will meet Brazil in the quarterfinals.
First set piece, and this was a worry. Yoshida talking about their inability at set or to defend set pieces. Japan, that is their weakness.
Kompany making a run from the edge of the penalty area. Lukaku's in there. Belgium goes short, actually. 1-2 between Hazard and De Bruyne. The ball is now floated to the far post. Kompany heads it down, cleared on the half volley by Shoji with his left foot up to the halfway line. Meunier comes all the way back to chase it for Belgium, pokes it with the outside of his right foot and finds Courtois. Courtois, well, not quite in Neuer territory there, but a good 40 yards from his goal line. But perfectly safe, no one to tackle him there. And that's a lovely ball up to Carrasco from De Bruyne. Carrasco has space on the left. Hazard's making a run beside him. Carrasco doesn't want to use him though. Digs his right foot under the ball. Meunier heads the cross back across goal. Lukaku brings it down. It won't quite fall for him. Lukaku on the turn, hits the shot, takes a deflection. Belgium get the corner.
He looks strong, doesn't he? Lukaku. Carrasco, who's playing as a left winger ahead of Hazard in that situation, as the ball's headed back across. Lukaku says to a couple of the Japanese defenders, get off, I'm having that. Turns, snapshot, takes a deflection wide.
17 minutes played in the first half. Belgium 0, Japan 0. Another corner for Belgium, where they are always going to be a threat here. Now, the last one they took short. This one I think is coming in the box, and the referee's blown his whistle. Spotted something he didn't like in the penalty area. Holding's been an issue during the World Cup. Some teams have got away with it, some haven't. De Bruyne floats the corner in. Kompany with the header might come down for Kompany on the volley, miscues it, and the ball is behind for the goal kick. Our referee, Malang Jeju, has refereed 2 games in the tournament, Costa Rica, Serbia, and he sent a Russian player off as well against Uruguay. Igor Smolnikov got 2 yellow cards in that game. And he also worked as a VAR official at last year's Confederations Cup. So if we get into any VAR issues this evening...
Did they wear the kit?
Well, I don't know if they did at the Confederations Cup. I do always enjoy those pre-match shots of the VAR officials in full refereeing gear. And I love the thought of them all doing a warm-up together as well, up and down the corridors, wherever they are in Moscow. Belgium just starting to take a hold on this game. Witsel in quickly to try and win the ball on the halfway line, but spins away from him, and Nagatomo, under no pressure at all for Japan, the left back, has it inside his own half, rolls one up the left-hand touchline. He knew he got a little shove in the back from Meunier, and Japan get a free kick. 18 minutes played. Belgium 0, Japan 0. Played each other in November, these two, last year. Belgium won it 1-0 with a goal from Romelu Lukaku. First time they've beaten Japan though in 5 meetings. Carrasco chasing, and now Shoji has the ball, the Japanese centre-back, plays it wide to Nagatomo. Little 1-2 with Inui. Belgium quite happy just to hold off here. That's too much for Inui to chase down the left-hand side. Alderweireld lets it run out of play, and that is a goal kick to Belgium.
Yeah, contrasting systems. Japan with that back 4. Belgium back 5 out of possession. I think in this heat, it's still extremely warm in the stadium. They're trying to conserve energy, and then they've got that pace, that power on the break.
Witsel brings the ball under control just inside his own half. Right-footed pass, low across to Meunier. Walking pace back to Witsel, onto De Bruyne, who just hoves into view. Back to Alderweireld. Lovely long diagonal ball here, almost clears the right back Sakai, but he read it, he got there, heads it forward to Haraguchi. Oh, he's lost it here on the edge of the penalty area. Hazard almost nips in. Yoshida is there to clear the danger. Kompany heads the ball back forward. Yoshida lets it run into his own penalty area and then hoofs it away with his right foot, and the ball is out for a Belgian throw on the left. 19 minutes played. Belgium 0, Japan 0. 2 more World Cup commentaries coming your way tomorrow. Sweden against Switzerland. Chris's beloved Switzerland is at 3 o'clock, 7 o'clock England in action again
I
here.
wouldn't say my beloved, I just didn't write them off like everybody else.
England-Colombia in full at 7 o'clock. Mertens very quick on the turn there. Lays it off to Lukaku's right-footed shot, takes a big deflection and goes behind for a corner.
Yeah, worked that very, very well, Belgium. Ball into Mertens, half turn, 30 yards out, pops it into Lukaku on the turn. Nakamoto, good block.
Belgium just starting to look ever so slightly more dangerous at the moment. So Rachel Burden with the breakfast programme live in Moscow from 6 o'clock tomorrow as we build up to that England game, trying to make their way into the quarterfinals where they meet either Sweden or Switzerland. Robbie Savage's World Cup breakfast from 8:30 as well. Jonathan Pearce, our correspondent John Murray and Henry Winter will be a part of that programme. Talking about the England game, De Bruyne waiting to take this corner from the right, low into the area. Mertens has a swing and misses, comes to Kompany, goes through his legs. Kompany pokes it to his left. Here's Vertonghen. Vertonghen gets his cross in deep. Inui's there, very cool under pressure, chests it down, and Carrasco closes in. Inui clears and the ball will go out for a Belgium throw on the right.
Wasn't that clever, that corner? Off the training ground. De Bruyne right-footed, plays low into Mertens. It does just bounce in front of Mertens. He's 14 yards out, level with the near post, doesn't get a good connection. Well worked.
Alderweireld for Belgium inside the Belgium half. Another sticky night here in Russia. Witsel slightly miscontrols. So right in his face there was Shibasaki. Witsel kept control. Kompany's under pressure. Japan are pressing a little bit higher here. Alderweireld's going to go long down the right-hand side towards Lukaku. Shoji leaps in and heads the ball out. And Lukaku's frustrated there. He's saying, come on, that needs to be quicker. Mertens getting ready to take the throw.
Yeah, there's space in behind. The nature of Japan pressing that Belgian back line.
Meunier throws it into Lukaku, holds two defenders off, chests the ball down, lays it off to his skipper Hazard. Hazard switches it from his right foot to his left foot, stabs a little pass out to Carrasco, who is a left footer but puts it on his right foot. Back to Hazard, floated pass across the face of the Japanese box. Shibasaki is there again to get on Witsel's shoulders, and Japan have done well here because they've chased Belgium all the way back into their own half. It's not a rip-roaring atmosphere like it was France-Argentina a couple of days ago for us in Kazan, but as I say that, actually the noise is just building inside the Rostov arena. Saw one Japanese fan with the face painted entirely white, red circle right in the middle. Meunier's ball through here for Lukaku to chase, and it's cleared and out for a throw.
Mertens there throwing his arms up in the air. I think Meunier should make that pass, just getting in the back of the Japanese midfield. Lukaku had made a bursting run through the middle, misplaced pass, allowed Shoji to intercept.
Midway through the first half, neither keeper's been tested. Shoji had that long-range effort from 45 yards. His only ever goal for Japan actually came from 45 yards against China in the East Asian Championship last year. He didn't pull it off here in Rostov tonight. Good tackle there. De Bruyne is robbed. Ball is played up to Kagawa. Kagawa side foots a pass back here. Osako can't get there, the centre forward, and now Vertonghen sees an opportunity. Goes slaloming through the Japanese midfield. This is nice from Belgium. Meunier lays it off to Lukaku. Gets up to three-quarter speed, works it onto his left foot on the right, curling ball across to Carrasco, bit of space, nice first touch into the penalty area, pulls the ball back to the edge of the box, and Shibasaki is there to clear, but that's not a good clearance, rolled right up the middle of the pitch to Alderweireld. Belgium just sniffing blood possibly here, but the pass to Hazard not good from Carrasco, and it's behind again for a Japanese goal kick.
Yeah, more arm waving this time from Hazard. It was a poor pass from Carrasco, but they look slicker and sharper, that last move. And Lukaku's movement is good.
So the way this side of the draw lines up, if you haven't got your World Cup wall chart in front of you, France, Uruguay in one quarter-final, and Brazil awaiting the winners of this one. On the other side, we have Russia against Croatia, both going through on the penalty shootouts last night, and then England or Colombia against Sweden or Switzerland. And we'll find out who's going to take those quarter-final spots tomorrow. Belgium in their bright red with yellow trim. Coming forward again down the right-hand side with Meunier. Dries Mertens making a run for him. It's going to turn out to be a decoy run because Mounier plays it back to Witsel. Now Mertens has it crossing. Lukaku's there. Now can he get it under control? No, and the goalkeeper Kawashima scrambles and falls on the ball. Lukaku was 3 yards out. The ball was under his feet, and if he could have just got it out, surely it would have been 1-0.
Yeah, just wouldn't drop. Mertens wide on the right, level with the 18-yard line, whips across and it takes a deflection, and Yoshida just does enough to scramble the ball clear.
Belgium 0, Japan 0. 20 minutes remaining in the first half. Are we going to get another big upset at this World Cup? Belgium heavily favoured here, of course, having won all 3 group games and having scored 9 goals so far in the tournament. We saw them beat Tunisia 5-2, and they did look sharp that afternoon in Moscow. Hazard in particular. Lukaku scored 2. Witsel, pass intercepted. Japan have it on the right-hand side. That's Haraguchi. Turns and plays the ball back infield. Shibasaki's lost it. Kompany intercepts. Nice ball from Kompany. This is trouble for Japan. Hazard's onto it on the left-hand side at speed into the penalty area on his right foot. Lays it off to Mertens. De Bruyne. De Bruyne's first-time shot is hooked and cleared and high in the air. Nodded away by Nagatomo. Just didn't catch it quite right. And Japan are able to come away with it. And here's Nagatomo again on the corner of his own box on his right foot. Clears up to the halfway line. Alderweireld chests it sideways to Carrasco. And Hazard, who's just starting to get into the game a little bit more, towards Lukaku. Laid off to Carrasco. Couldn't take it on the run. Flick clearance only finds Hazard. On his left foot, drives it straight at the goalkeeper. And Kawashima, double-fisted, punches it away. I think for I was going to say corner, but it's a throw-in. Hazard's taken that quickly. Hazard to De Bruyne and back to Hazard again. Little ball into the feet of Carrasco. Thought about the back heel. Carrasco on the dribble himself. Lays it back to Hazard. Hazard just toying with Sakai. Low pass back to Witsel, 25 yards from goal. Belgium 0, Japan 0. Mertens left-footed ball into the area. Oh, Yoshida slices it just past his own post. Behind for a corner.
9 Japanese players in the box defending hard box, but you feel it's coming with Belgium. They're turning the screw. Yoshida slightly fortunate there, left-footed cross from Mertens on the right-hand side of the box, sliced clear.
Corner roll back to De Bruyne. De Bruyne's right-footed ball to the far post. Kompany attacks it and puts it right across goal. It finds Hazard just inside the penalty area, down by the byline on the left. Another cross comes in, volleyed away by the captain Hasebe. Vincent Kompany on his first start at this World Cup, so close.
I think he's got to head that, I really do. He's gone with his foot in that situation.
Another cross in from Mertens, too close to Kawashima. Why has he punched that? Ends up at the feet of Mounier. Now comes to Mertens, but Mounier has committed a foul on the edge of the box, and so Japan will get a free kick. Chris Sutton.
Yeah, I think it's poor goalkeeping twice. First with Kompany, Kawashima from the cross from De Bruyne, tantalising cross. The goalkeeper, he comes and flaps. I think Kompany should go with his head, and if he does, I think he scores. It's 2 or 3 yards out. Yes, at an angle, would stand a better chance. And then Kawashima, really poor punch when he should have caught it.
Yeah, I think he was counting the crows there, Chris, as they say in Russia.
Do they?
Head in the clouds. Kawashima gets away with it. Belgium 0, Japan 0. We have 17 minutes remaining in this first half, and Japan given a pretty good account of themselves so far. Possession stats just come up, 60% Belgium, 40% Japan. They have offered a little threat though. Inui's lost it on the right-hand side. Kagawa and Nagatomo both come hurtling in to try and close the ball down. And Alderweireld has it for Belgium and plays the ball across the face of his own penalty area. Vertonghen onto Carrasco, back to Vertonghen, no pressure on him, midway inside his own half. Alderweireld also counting the crows there, just let the ball roll over his right foot, but managed to go and collect it again. And now he dinks a ball down the right-hand side. Nagatomo's able to easily intercept, chests it and clears it. Witzel's in to win a header. Roberto Martinez applauds that heartily, and it goes out for a Japan throw, which Nagatomo will take into midfield, and it finds Hasebe. Hasebe floats a pass with his right foot across to the right back Sakai. plays his club football for Marseille. Ball back into Yoshida. Yoshida across to his centre-back partner Shoji. Shoji wide to Nagatomo. Nice bit of Japan possession building up here. Kagawa's dropped deep to take it off Nagatomo on the left. Gives it to Inui. Inui runs forward. Looks to find the centre-forward Asako there. He was tackled, but Japan have picked up the bits and bobs. Hasebi plays it to the right-hand side. Awkward clearance for Kompany. Had to take that ball on the bounce and open his body up to clear. And Japan here building again on the right, and then it's thumped forward high by Yoshida. Munier's underneath it. He's missed it, and Kagawa's onto it into the penalty area. Here he comes, right-footed back heel. Nagatomo's cross towards the far post, attacked and headed straight at Thibaut Courtois, who makes an easy save in the end, and he's bowled the ball out very quickly. Lukaku's lost it on the halfway line there. Had the header been either side of Courtois, Japan could easily have been in front. Half an hour's flown by in this first half. Belgium 0, Japan 0.
Yeah, that was half a chance though. Really well worked down the left-hand side, cross dugout, and the header, no real purchase on the header from 8 yards, straight at Courtois. Kagawa.
That's the chance, isn't it, Chris, that you always feel you have with Belgium. You know, they are fantastic going forwards. They score loads and loads of goals, but Tunisia got 2 against them. We saw that. They can be vulnerable at the back. As I say that, Kompany defends beautifully, takes the ball off Asako, and Belgium have it again inside their own half. So 14 minutes remaining in the first half in the Rostov Arena. 2 more World Cup commentaries tomorrow. Sweden, Switzerland at 3. The big one at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Mark Chapman inside the Spartak Stadium, bringing you that one with John Murray and Chris Waddle against Colombia for a place in the World Cup quarter-finals. 5 Live Sport will be on air from midday, live from Moscow and Wimbledon. The championships are underway, and we know that Kim Clijsters, the Belgian tennis player, is watching the game with Kei Nishikori, the Japanese tennis player, this evening. So hopefully they're watching with the sound down and a radio on, possibly, Chris, and if they are, we will say hello to them. Kagawa with his left foot. Japan working this nicely. Up the pitch, left-hand side, Nagatomo looks up. No one coming towards him, so Nagatomo brings the ball forward again. Inui on the left finds Hasebi. Hasebi cross to the right-hand side. Shibasaki curling ball to the far post, over the head of everyone. Inui tries to catch it down by the byline. He couldn't, and it's behind for a goal kick. Belgium 0, Japan 0.
Yeah, just a good little period from Japan. Good in possession. Just seeing that opportunity again. It's a good cross from Nagamoto. Inui just cannot get the purchase. It stood up the crosses, so he has to generate his own power.
You could say Inui should have scored. No, that's no good. 12 minutes to go in the first half. Belgium 0, Japan 0. But Japan having a good little spell here. Kagawa with a bit of control and a flick to Asako, centre forward who wears number 15. He'll be playing his football for Werder Bremen next season, having joined from Cologne this summer. Headed forward by Munier, chested down by Shoji. And Shoji with his right foot plays it up to the halfway line. Inui almost lost it, but he managed to recover himself and keep it for Japan. And now Kagawa's come very deep, and that's a good run made by Sakai down the right-hand side. Courtois coming to meet him and grabbed it just in time. Long arms, Chris. Tall man.
He has an advantage. Those long limbs, those long arms did well, actually, because initially when the ball was played, lovely crossfield ball from left to right. I wasn't sure he was going to get there. Just extended those long arms and gathered the ball on the edge of the area.
11 minutes left in the first half. Hazard forward to De Bruyne, wide to Carrasco. Did really well to keep that in on the left-hand side. Belgium 0, Japan 0. Brazil awaiting in the quarter-finals after their 2-0 win over Mexico. Nice ball into Carrasco on the turn. Lays it off to Mertens. First touch let him down. Trying to tee himself up for the shot, and it just ran away from him. And now Vertonghen's lost it, and Japan can counter here. Kagawa's looking for a pass to the right-hand side. He's found it. Inui's making a great run in the middle here. It's going to reach Inui. Brings it down on his right foot brilliantly. He's got a man behind in support if he can see him. He's going to keep it Inui. Back to the edge of the area. Asako, the centre-forward's lost it. And Munier clears up to the halfway line. Yoshida will cover it.
It's a shame for Japan. Really good crossfield ball to Inui. He had Haraguchi behind him, edge of the box. Took too long to get his pass off, and then that chance was gone. The Belgian defenders got back in numbers.
Belgium unbeaten in their last 22 games. Roberto Martinez took over after Euro 2016, lost his first one against Spain. Since then, 17 wins and 5 draws. Martinez...
You were making the point earlier, though, they haven't really played anybody too strong, or a lot of top teams in that period.
That's right, Chris, and I think when it comes to a game against Brazil, if they face it, you just wonder whether that might catch up with them. You look at what England have been doing in recent times, playing the likes of Germany, Brazil, Spain and France. Belgium haven't been doing that. Mertens' ball, though, finds Hazard. Edge of the area, real chance for Hazard. Shoots, well blocked by Yoshida. Runs to De Bruyne. De Bruyne 25 yards out. Sideways to Witsel. Gets underneath it, blasts it over the bar, and behind for the goal kick. Great chance for Eden Hazard there.
Yeah, and his first touch was just off on his chest as the ball was played from Mertens, and that didn't allow him to continue with that momentum. He stopped, the defender got back and blocked it well. But you'll go back to the game against England, a lot of changes. Eden Hazard, he wasn't happy about being left out. Last couple of minutes, a poor touch from Hazard, poor touch from Mertens. They haven't been able to get their shots away.
We're into the last 10 minutes of the first half. Japan have kept this tight so far. Kompany with the effort that went a cross goal when possibly he should have headed it. Yoshida with the block on Hazard. Hazard chasing a long ball through, but it comes all the way through to Kawashima. The Japanese goalkeeper, playing in his third World Cup.
Yeah, it's funny how things change. I remember him playing for Dundee United, took Dundee United down, not single-handedly, but he had an absolute stinker in the Dundee derby, and here he is, last 16 of the World Cup. Dundee United fans wouldn't believe this.
Kawashima has cleared the ball. Vertonghen's headed it forward and Hazard's let it bounce, and now he's lobbed one for Lukaku to chase. That was awkward there for Shoji. Lukaku right on his shoulder. Shoji gets a touch and it's behind for a Belgium corner.
He's got to be careful, Shoji. Very careful. You can't fight Lukaku. He is an absolute powerhouse, a monster of strength.
5 corners to Belgium so far, none to Japan. De Bruyne gets ready to take this one. Holds his right arm in the air. Hazard's gone short for him. He won't use him. Curls it again deep to the far post. Vertonghen with the header back across goal. Headed powerfully away. And Witsel is there, and he's just going to let the ball run out of play and take the throw in instead and throw it back to Meunier. Meunier on his right foot. Starts to run up the right-hand side. Sees 2 blue shirts in front of him, so stops. Plays it back to Witsel. Witsel to Alderweireld. Back to Kompany. Kompany in for Boyata this evening. De Bruyne has dropped very deep here. Halfway line. Plays it to Hazard. Hazard down the left to Carrasco. He's got a chance to run at Yoshida here. Tries to beat him on the outside. Gets his cross in. Beyond Kawashima, beyond Meunier. Meunier will chase. Can't get there. And it's out for a Japan throw.
They've linked up well, haven't they, down that Belgian left-hand side. And at times Carrasco has played higher than Hazard. Hazard dropping in, getting the ball to feet, releasing Carrasco. Not the worst ball. Across the 6-yard line, no takers.
7 minutes left in the first half in the Rostov Arena. Belgium 0, Japan 0. This time tomorrow night on 5 Live, you'll be listening to England in last 16 action against Colombia. And for more extensive build-up on that game, if you haven't already, make sure you download the World Cup Daily Podcast. Either from your usual podcast provider or go to the BBC Sport website or app and go and find it there. Belgium have given the ball away to Shibasaki on the halfway line. Run off it brilliantly by Hazard. Lovely nutmeg from Hazard. Then he's taken down by Shibasaki. And that will be a yellow card. Spot on, Chris Sutton. Deserves it as well.
Yeah, he did really well, Hazard. Something you don't really associate with him. Out of possession, winning the ball back, then on the half turn, that burst, that acceleration, and Shibasaki is thinking, I can't let him get away. Goes to ground, easy decision for the referee, but Hazard's still down.
Hazard is down. That'll be a worry for Belgium. Plenty of the players taking water on as well on another sticky night in Russia. Shibasaki was one. I was just thinking this morning, Chris, thinking of possible storylines and shock results, and I said to you, it'd be a completely unoriginal headline, but were he to score a winner against Belgium, I was thinking for the old Shibasaki goes ballistic, Belgium were atrocious. Might work.
You were thinking that. I'm surprised you said it.
5 minutes left in the first half. Belgium haven't been atrocious, neither have Japan. And Japan, who really can consider themselves lucky to be at this stage, playing in that bizarre last 10 minutes against Poland in the group stages, 1-0 down, where had Senegal got an equaliser against Colombia, or had Poland scored another goal in the game, they would have been out. They came through here by virtue of having 2 yellow cards fewer than Senegal, and here they are, and they're holding Belgium at the moment. 5 minutes left in the first half. Hazard's okay on his feet. Free kick for Belgium, which De Bruyne is going to chip into the penalty area. Vertonghen attacks, heads it across goal, nodded away. Carrasco lays it off to Hazard. Gets the ball onto his right boot, stands up the defenders. Pass is intercepted. Carrasco chases back to win it for Belgium, has it 30 yards from goal, drives forward. Hazard making the run down the left-hand side. He's really got to chase that pass hard to keep it by the corner flag. Jinks infield, lovely little skill, down to the byline, intercepted by Shibasaki, and the ball is out for a Belgium throw on the left.
Yeah, they've actually defended from crosses, corners, second balls very well. Belgium often winning the first ball. Japan really alert on that second ball.
Belgium 0, Japan 0. Intriguing stuff at the moment on 5 Live. Nice little turn from Lukaku round the corner. Hazard almost onto that. Loose ball comes to De Bruyne. 25 yards out. Just sucking a couple of defenders in. Played wide to Carrasco. Curling cross to the far post. Meunier attacks. Good defending by Nagatomo. Heads it away. Now a little bit risky from Inouye here inside his own box. His chip clearance is headed up in the air by Witsel. Witsel can't keep that in. Japan have a throw on the left inside their own half. So Belgium not having it all their own way, and actually best chance of the game, Chris, and possibly the Inouye header.
Maybe.
Or the Hazard shot that was blocked. Had he done better with that?
But what it does show you is defences are on top, and credit to Japan. Belgium just not at it really.
Showed you with a long diagonal right-footed ball, but he's over clubbed there. So
They haven't done enough in the final third.
Belgium.
Yep, and that's Belgium's issue.
Kompany plays the ball to Vertonghen. Play's just slowed here for the moment. 2.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Brazil 2, Mexico 0 earlier on. Brazil awaiting the winners of this tie in the quarterfinals. De Bruyne has tackled. Alderweireld there quickly to his teammates' rescue. The pass is floated onto the chest of Meunier. Meunier, low pass to Mertens. Mertens into the box, finds Hazard. Little flick looking for Lukaku. Intercepted again. Shoji's here for Japan. Whee, look at that. Shoji with a little double back heel turn on the edge of the box, but I tell you what, the pass out of defence wasn't good, and Vertonghen's got there and given it to Hazard. Hazard, who's got Haraguchi in front of him, chips a ball up in the air to De Bruyne, who's yet to score at this World Cup, tries to thread that pass through on the right-hand side. Awkward for Nagatomo, bouncing ball, hooks it away with his right foot, over his shoulder, and out for a throw into Belgium.
Yeah, I think he's asking there for the goalkeeper to come for that. Took no chances. Nagatomo in that situation.
Meunier throws in to Hazard here, who's run into chest to chest there. He was with Inouye and was flattened, but he doesn't get a free kick. Shibasaki's ball across his own half. Good one to Haraguchi. Haraguchi takes it and moves it on quickly and gets the ball back, and he's got a bit of pace. Hasn't had much of a chance to run yet. Threads one through to Kagawa. Kagawa back to Inouye here. And Inouye looks to his left-hand side and floats it to Nagatomo, the left-back, chests it down just outside the Belgian penalty area. Nagatomo, right-footed shot, Courtois let it through his legs, and he's so lucky to go back and collect it. The cross took a very slight deflection from Osako, the centre-forward. It rolled ever so gently into Courtois' arms, and he almost had the most embarrassing moment of this World Cup, because he let it through his legs, and it very, very nearly crossed the line and went into the back of the net.
Wonder what Jordan Pickford would have made of that. Had he been shorter, he may have gathered it. But I tell you what, it's a big chance for Japan. And it was Osako, had he taken a better touch, would have had an easy finish from 4 yards, unmarked, level with the near post. Dreadful touch.
Here they come again, Japan. Inouye, he's got a bit of pace, running at Meunier, heading for the byline again. Ooh, Meunier stuck a foot out, it's gone behind. just a risky little leg stuck out there. Inouye went past him, got the cross in, and it was blocked. But for Thibaut Courtois, I mean, we said it, didn't we, Chris, in terms of talking about other goalkeepers and this, that and the other, pride can come before a fall. Annoyingly, I don't know the Russian for that, because I know they'd have a great one.
Well, I was surprised at the criticism. I've seen him make mistakes for Chelsea this year. I was in the new camp. Barcelona, he let an easy one on his near post.
Hazard's ball up to Lukaku. Lukaku was being tugged and pulled there, but
it's not the norm, is it, for goalkeepers to criticise other goalkeepers?
It's not. Belgium 0, Japan 0. Added time, end of the first half, 1 minute. So not long left in the first half here. If I could get my words out. Witsel just inside his own half, and Japan have done a very good job in this first half against this multi-faceted, talented Belgium team. Can they just hold on for this last 30 seconds? Hazard towards Mertens. Mertens onto Lukaku. Japan want offside. Mertens with a curling shot. Easy save for Kawashima. Gets down to his left, and it nestles into his gloves.
Yeah, shot on target. No real purchase from Mertens. Left-hand side of the box, 25 yards out. Tries to bend it into that far corner. Gathered easily.
Shoji, Japan's centre-back, just under a little bit of pressure here. They don't want to make any silly mistakes now. Hasebe clears with his left foot. And there we are. First half up in the Rostov arena. And Japan very much holding their own. In fact, two really good chances. The Inouye header from the break down the left-hand side that went straight at Courtois. And then that ball into the near post that Osako couldn't control. But he very nearly deflected it in anyway, because Courtois almost made an absolute horlicks of it.
Do you know what? At the break, Japan, that chance, Osako chance, they should be ahead. And once again, the underdogs, you cannot rule them out. We talk about Belgians. Golden generation. They haven't been golden in this first half, and they have a lot of work to do to stay in this World Cup.
Well, Chris Sutton was saying before the game that they're a nation who've not always delivered on the big stage when the big moment comes. They haven't been able to find a way through in this first half, and credit to Japan as well, who've done a great job against them. Half-time in Rostov is Belgium 0, Japan 0.
Ali, Jordan Pickford was probably very close to tweeting out, if you were just a bit shorter, Thibaut Courtois, you'd have been able to get down to that a bit easier.
Absolutely right. That was almost a horror show, wasn't it? It was such a... I mean, as Chris says, actually, Osako got it wrong. Had he been able to control the ball 3 yards out, he could have put it either side. I don't know whether Courtois was expecting him to do that and just lost concentration, but goodness me.
In a way, Ali would have liked that to go in, because he was so angry from those comments from Courtois. The last 24 hours, he's been an angry little man himself.
Honestly, ever since those comments have come out, Mark, he's coming up with all things about the long and the short of it. Will Belgium fall short? Are the quarterfinals out of reach? Honestly, it's tedious. It really is tedious.
Ali, Chris did say towards the end of that first half, it's intriguing, and it is, isn't it? I mean, it's not scintillating, but it's not dull either. Both sides have shown signs of being able to cause the other one problems.
He's asking you the question there, Chris. I was the one who said intriguing, because I'm not sure you've got that word in your vocabulary, have you?
There we go. But on a serious note, this is very much game on. And I'll take you back to the England game, the game that Roberto Martinez didn't want to win. There's been a couple of moments, couple of touches. Mertens, heavy touch, when he could have got a shot off. Hazard, when Mertens slipped him through, didn't take a good touch. And, you know, we talk about that continuity. Hazard said he wanted to play in the England game, and they haven't been at their sharpest going forward, and that would be an issue.
Although, Terry, you were saying as well, if you go back to Belgium's first game in this tournament, actually they struggled in the first half against Panama. It wasn't really until the second half they got going in that.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing the team that's far, far better than Tunisia and Panama put together. So they're well organised, Japan, and they're hard-working. They've got good movement, good passing, but nothing really in the final third. But they're difficult to break down.
Do you think that's affected them,
Terry?
Terry?
They're well organised.
Do you think it's affected them?
I think it has. I think you need tempo. You need to keep sharp You can get sharp playing against your own teammates and things like this, but you get sharp in real match environments. That's when you maintain your sharpness and increase your sharpness. So, yeah, that's possibly a cause. But having said that, I think Japan are very well organised and are frustrating Belgium. But I think Belgium look surprised at how well Japan are playing. I mean, I've been surprised by their fluidity and their movement and everything else. It's good. I think the thing about Belgium is I don't think they're pressing hard enough or high enough. I don't think they're really having a go and saying, well, come on, win the ball back in their half. They're dropping off a little bit, allowing Japan to play. There's no real tempo about their plays, except when they get Hazard on the ball, and they've made poor decisions. The shots, the crosses, the passes. They're not quite there. So if they're not quite there, could equal not playing against England.
Goalless at half-time in Rostov then between Belgium and Japan, and the winners will face Brazil in the last 8. Brazil beat Mexico 2-0 earlier today. During half-time we'll hear from Ashley Young and we'll round up everything that's happened on the opening day of Wimbledon as well. But at 10 to 8, here's the latest BBC News.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
The news on 5 Live, I'm Kate Holdsworth. 12 young footballers and their coach have been found alive 9 days after they went missing in a cave in Thailand. Rescue teams have faced challenging conditions trying to reach them through narrow passages full of murky water. Our correspondent Jonathan Head is there.
The pumping operation is going to be vital. There's a huge amount going on, 10,000 litres an hour. Whether that's enough, though, to combat heavy rains, which are expected later this week, is not clear. This is still a very precarious operation, and the big thinking about how to get them out still really has to be done. But for the moment, this does seem like the most miraculous of endings to a story that had looked increasingly worrying.
Theresa May's told MPs that both UK and EU negotiators need to show flexibility as Brexit talks intensify. Ministers are meeting at Chequers on Friday when more details about a proposed third customs arrangement are due to be released. Here's the Conservative MP Nicky Morgan.
It isn't helpful for other people to set down red lines, what is and isn't needed. We are going to leave the European Union. That's what the EU Withdrawal Act we've just passed was all about. But I think any Conservative should want to do this in a way that safeguards our economy and that protects business and jobs. And I think we should allow the Cabinet to make those decisions.
Police on the Isle of Bute say they're treating the death of a schoolgirl as unexplained. The body of a 6-year-old was found in Woodland this morning. Officers believe it's Alicia McPhail, who was reported missing 2.5 hours earlier. Officials in Cyprus say a man is to go on trial in connection with the death of a British tourist. Charlie Birch, who was 39, died in a hit-and-run collision near Paphos last month. The 35-year-old suspect is charged with premeditated murder and the attempted murder of a second British man. The Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, says firefighters need more government support to tackle a wildfire on the Lancashire moors. Crews have spent 5 days trying to bring the fire on Winter Hill under control. And forecasters say the current heat wave will continue for another 2 weeks. We're being asked to be more conservative with our water use, and a hosepipe ban is in force in Northern Ireland.
5 Live Sports. Available now. 5 Live's World Cup Daily Podcast.
You will get an episode every single day for the whole tournament, featuring the best analysis from Russia.
What a screaming finish, and what a great moment for the travelling army of fans.
As a football fan, you have to appreciate that moment.
Download the World Cup Daily Podcast from your favourite podcast provider.
Well, what could go wrong here? We fled a statue in the morning, so Dion, home to bed.
I must admit, I did laugh at that. That was hilarious.
This is your World Cup station. This is 5 Live.
This is Mark Chapman in Moscow with 5 Live Sports, 7 minutes to 8 o'clock, goalless between Belgium and Japan at half-time in Rostov. Second half is on the way. Some football transfer news for you, and the Greece defender Sokratis Papastatopoulos has joined Arsenal for an undisclosed fee from Borussia Dortmund. West Brom have agreed a fee of £6.5 million with Manchester United for the England under-21 goalkeeper Sam Johnston. Reading women have signed keeper Rachel Laws from Sunderland. Arsenal women have signed the Swiss midfielder Leah Walti from Turbine Potsdam. Chris Froome says he's grateful and relieved after cycling's world governing body, the UCI, dropped his anti-doping case against him. Froome was under investigation after more than the allowed level of the legal asthma drug salbutamol was found in his urine. And the triple world champion speed skater Elise Christie says she's gutted for her sport after it is one of 4 winter sports to lose funding for the Beijing 2022 Olympic and Paralympic cycle. Christie will, however, receive UK sport investment through a medal support plan, despite not winning any medals at 3 previous Olympics. We'll be building up all day tomorrow on 5 Live to England against Colombia, a 7 o'clock kickoff here in Moscow, England's first knockout game at a World Cup since the 4-1 defeat to Germany back in 2010. Plenty of talk about the possibility of penalties in the final press conferences with Gareth Southgate and Ashley Young this afternoon, but Young was confident.
Put my name forward. I've got the confidence in my own ability to step up and take one. So if it goes to them stages there, then I'll definitely be one to put my hand up and want to take one. Obviously we've worked and I've practiced them, and I've got confidence in my own ability to be able to score one.
Yeah, he's a player with, as we've seen, outstanding set play, delivery and technique. So like all of the players that we've been through the various drills to prepare, and once we get to that point, we know our sort of ranking of players and what we've seen, not just with us, but over a number of years in players that have taken more in certain matches than others. So we're prepared, but there's a lot of football before that point, and our primary focus is preparing for what happens during the flow of the game. But should it come to that stage, we're ready.
Former England captain Terry Butcher is with me. We'll talk more about penalties on the World Cup Daily podcast a little bit later, which you can subscribe to now. But it is important not to concentrate on the penalty side of things, as Gareth Southgate said on the actual 90 minutes against Colombia.
Yeah, you could have 2 hours to win the game. So you look at that, and the more you get, say, 5 or 10 minutes towards the end of extra time, then your mind does turn to penalties. It did when we played Belgium in 1990. Thankfully David Platt turned up, and that was a great win for us. But you want it decided. It's not right to go to penalties as such, because it is a lottery. It is difficult.
But they do have a plan.
But they have a plan. They have a mental plan, a physical plan. They've rehearsed it. They've reproduced it or tried as best as they can. But it's down to your mental strength as a player. You just say, right, I fancy this. We are going to score. I'm going to score. And you go down and you do the right things, and you go through routine, just like a golfer would hit a drive in the last hole of the 4-day tournament, knowing that if he gets a par, then he wins a tournament. So that's what you just do, the things that you naturally do.
More on this in the World Cup Daily podcast. We'll be back for the second half shortly of Belgium against Japan, goalless there, but on the opening day of Wimbledon, let's head to Jonathan Overend.
On the opening day of Wimbledon, Mark, we lost the 4th seed from the women's singles and the 6th seed from the men's singles, Sloane Stephens and Grigor Dimitrov. Not just that, though, they were beaten by a couple. Donna Vekic beat Stephens. Her boyfriend, Stan Wawrinka, beat Grigor Dimitrov. So, correspondent Russell Fuller, which of those was the biggest shock?
I was more surprised to see Wawrinka beat Dimitrov, given Dimitrov's seeding and the fact that he won the ATP finals at the end of last year, and Wawrinka looked seriously off the pace when he lost to Andy Murray in Eastbourne last week, whereas Sloane Stephens is more unpredictable and Donna Vekic can be very handy on the grass. But yes, a surprise to lose 2 in the top 10 on the opening day.
A straight sets win on centre court for Roger Federer. Also in straight sets, the return of Serena Williams to Wimbledon. It wasn't easy for her, was it? But boy, did she celebrate. It meant a lot to her being back.
The celebration for winning the first set was bigger than the celebration at the end of the match as she won in straight sets against Arantxa Rus of the Netherlands. She said the wind put her off a little bit today. She made the point, I've not played a great deal of tennis recently, so when you are faced with these conditions that normally she'd take in her stride, it's just taking a little bit of adjusting to as she eases her way back onto the tour.
Let's talk about the Brits. Big win for Katie Swan, the Bristol teenager. More on that in a moment. Currently on court, Russell. What about Cameron Norrie?
Cameron Norrie of Britain against Alij Bednay, who still has the British passport but is now representing Slovenia again. Norrie won the first set 6-4. Bednay, who has more experience, reached the 3rd round here last year, took the 2nd set on a tie-break, and Norrie at the moment is serving to stay in the 3rd set 4-5 down.
How big a win was this for Katie Swan today?
Hugely impressive. 19 years of age. We remember her for reaching the Australian Open final as a junior 3 or so years ago. She has been playing well, but this was a big result on the biggest stage of all as she beat Irina Camelia Begu, who's 36 in the world rankings, and she thrashed her. She won 6-2, 6-2, and she's going to go and buy herself a new mobile phone case with her winnings.
Action continuing into the evening here. Agnieszka Radwanska, a former finalist in action on Court 1, watched by Kathy Nanasegaram.
Yeah, finalist back in 2012, now the 32nd seed here. She stormed through the start of this match, 5-love up in the first set against Elena Gabriela Rusa, overwhelming her opponent who was making her debut in the main draw. Took that first set 6-3, but Rusa has come back to take the second set 6-4, and we've had a break of serve both each at the start of the third set, so one game all, and we are going to find out about Rusa and see how she can cope with this experience. She's growing in confidence in the third set.
A tussle going on out on court number 3 at the moment. Here's Sarah Orchard.
Yes, welcome to the Court 3 marathon. 2 hours 47 minutes so far for the two-time quarter-finalist Coco Vandeweghe taking on Katerina Siniakova, the world number 42, into a decider. We're back on serve after Vandeweghe had broken, but Siniakova broke straight back, and Vandeweghe is doing all of this on an injured right leg. She's really struggling out there. She's had the medic on, but she's on her serve at the moment. 40-love, 5-all in a decider.
Russell, it's a terrific day tomorrow, isn't it? Day 2 of Wimbledon. Rafa Nadal. It's over to you, Rafa, after Federer's statement earlier, and a stacked half in the women's singles.
Rafa Nadal against Dudi Seller in the second match on centre court. We've got Garbine Muguruza, the defending champion, opening up against Naomi Brody on the centre court, and then the world number 1 and French Open champion Simona Halep. Can she back up what she did at Roland Garros against Karumi Nara? And it looks as if a lot of the Brits have asked for an early billing tomorrow.
Yes.
Maybe a match they want to watch come the evening time.
It's quite funny actually, Mark. On the outside court starting at 11:30 these days at Wimbledon. Joe Conter 11:30 on court number 2. Jay Clark 11:30 on court 18. Carl Edmund is first up on number 1 court when that opens at 1. Anyone would think there was a match on.
Thank you very much, Jonathan and Russell. Thank you for your texts and your tweets. Ian, I knew England should have won the group and got this nice easy game. Belgium's momentum is really blowing Japan away. I think there may be some sarcasm there from Ian. Mike, Belgium are thoroughly underwhelming so far, a lot like Croatia last night. Penalties, anyone. And David, Belgium don't seem to be as good as they should be. Is that a fair commentary? Not as good as they should be.
Yeah, possibly so. I mean, Chris Sutton has volunteered an excuse. I think he's quite right as well to say that, because they don't look sharp. They don't look as up for it as much as they were in the first 2 games, the majority of this team. And I think that I think they'll be better second half because the game will stretch out. And Japan will actually say, well, actually, we sort of fancy our chances a bit, and they might open themselves up because if anything, Belgium are very, very quick on the counter-attack rather than actually dominating possession in the final third.
Let's go back to Rostov. Chris Sutton and Alistair Breesball.
Thank you, Mark. Chris just asked me to check on the name of the Greek defender that's joined Arsenal.
No, that's going on his shirt.
Not Socrates, but Socrates.
Socrates.
All right.
Papastathopoulos. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly it.
That's the one, yeah.
Of course, what I did do when reading it is I made an actual mess of Socrates, first of all, which then threw me off the surname as well. So,
do you know what? I very unfairly put that to you because but for the grace of God, I've done that hundreds of times, but obviously... fella sitting on my left-hand side.
But obviously Chris hasn't done it once.
Don't you worry, I'm going to get on the phone to management and make sure the first Arsenal game of the season the two of you are doing. That'll be fun.
For the Papastathopoulos debut. We'll do our best with it, not saying that name again. Second half is underway. Belgium 0, Japan 0, playing for the right to meet Brazil in the quarter-finals. And just to kind of emphasise, Chris Sutton, how hot it is inside this stadium tonight, the fair-skinned Kevin De Bruyne, when he came out of the tunnel, was pink, wasn't he? Like a lobster.
More beetroot, I think.
Yeah. Japan attacking down the left-hand side, but Mounier is going to let the ball run out of play, and it goes behind for a goal kick. Actually, raki, we found out today, is a local delicacy in Rostov, which is a little local lobster that comes out of the River Don.
Well, it's not a lot. It's different from a lobster, isn't it? It's in between lobster and crayfish.
Small lobster. Mertens challenged hard on the halfway line by Nagatomo. That will be a free kick to Belgium. One yellow card in the game so far. Shibasaki picked that up. Belgium have got to be careful on the yellow cards here. We've got Vertonghen, De Bruyne. both of them on yellows, which if they picked up another would miss a potential quarter-final were they to get through. 1 minute gone second half. Belgium 0, Japan 0. Neither manager's made a change in personnel at half-time. Here's the lobster De Bruyne. Left-footed ball down the left-hand side. Arms pumping for Carrasco, chasing that like a sprinter, couldn't catch it. Lots and lots of fans actually not back in their seats yet, which means a rather subdued start to the second half. Loads, and this arena is very blue and yellow. You can just see lots of empty blue plastic seats around. The stairwells here are all yellow, sort of colour coordinated like that.
And the fans, they may be entitled to be subdued, but the Belgian players need to liven up.
Let's see what Hazard can do. Belgian captain on the left-hand side, 2 Japanese defenders in front of him. Gets it back from Lukaku. He's got his back to goal, 30 yards out, being forced away from goal. Ball is played by him across to Witsel. Witsel to Meunier on the right-hand side. Meunier looking for the little 1-2 with Mertens. Well read by Inui for Japan. Japan are in dark blue with white trim. Blue shirts, blue shorts, blue socks. Tacking down the right. Chance here for Haraguchi. Gets into the penalty and shoots and scores for Japan. In the early stages of the second half, Belgium are caught out. And Haraguchi, what a moment for him. He's mobbed by his teammates. He took it absolutely brilliantly. And it's another massive upset on the cards at Russia 2018. Because it's Belgium 0, Japan 1. My oh my oh my.
This World Cup, you cannot rule out the underdogs. And I tell you what, it's a fantastic finish. It's a good run. Wonderful pass for Tongan. Really slack defending. Haraguchi still has work to do. 16 yards out at the angle. Not much goal to hit. But he hammers it across Courtois, who's helpless, into the far corner. It's a brilliant finish, and Japan are deservedly in front.
That is his 7th goal for Japan. It surely will be the most special. Wonderful finish with his right foot, low into the bottom corner. And we have a real game on our hands now. Belgium 0, Japan 1. As Chris Sutton says, at this World Cup, you cannot write off the underdog. You and I, Chris, saw South Korea beat Germany and dump them out of the World Cup in the group stages. We saw Russia hold Spain yesterday and knock them out on a penalty shootout. The pressure is now on Belgium. They're responding. Mertens into the Japan penalty. Hazard! Oh, hits the post, comes back to him. He can't finish the rebound. The ball is hacked away and it's out for a Belgium throw. What an electric start to the second half.
Good response.
De Bruyne from the quick throw. Hazard means business, twisting and turning, lays it back to De Bruyne. Belgium 0, Japan 1. Could be Brazil-Japan in the quarter-finals of the World Cup. Japan have never, ever reached a quarter-final at the World Cup. Trying to create history this evening, and they lead 1-0, but Belgium still have plenty of time to try and do something about it. Move down the right-hand side for Belgium, breaks up. Shoji intercepts. The ball is played into midfield, and Hasebi has it up towards the halfway line. Kagawa lays it off to his left-hand side. The centre-forward Osako is over there. He's done brilliantly to get away down the left, and then he stops and comes back and plays again.
Just wonder that chance for Belgium, though, coming back off the post. Is that a sign it's not going to be Belgium's night?
Kei Nishikori will be enjoying this more than Kim Clijsters in Wimbledon this evening. We know they're watching it together. Belgium 0, Japan 1. 5 minutes gone.
Yeah, I just wondered whether Mertens initially was offside, but he picks out Hazard. 16 yards out, Hazard. Lovely bend on the ball, right foot, and hits the inside of the post. Bounces to safety.
Belgium building from the back then, and they are behind. Highly fancied to go far at this World Cup, winning the group, winning that game against England, seemingly having the easier last 16 tie, although in the more difficult half of the draw that would seem as well, but behind against Japan. Meunier, head down, charging down the right, cross in towards Lukaku, too close to the goalkeeper Kawashima. He catches it with both hands, rolls it out quickly, and here come Japan. There's the goal scorer Haraguchi with his
wonderful finish, wasn't it? But are we seeing Belgium bottling it again in the big tournaments?
Oh, that's a nice ball as well from midfield. That's Shibasaki, plays it out to the left-hand side. Nagatomo, the left back, likes to get forward down that flank. Shibasaki with his right foot, plays it across to Sakai. So no urgency for Japan here, but if that opportunity comes, they will try and take it. What a lovely 1-2 with Kagawa there. Kagawa through the middle to Asako. He couldn't quite take the ball in his stride. Mounier intercepts, plays it forward to Mertens. Mertens in the centre circle on the dribble, can't find De Bruyne. So Wire slightly crossed there, and Yoshida for Japan plays it wide to the left again. Inui cutting in from that left, crosses in towards Osaka, headed away by Kompany. Kagawa brings it down, controls it, little step over, was thinking about the shot, plays it back to the edge of the box. What a goal! What a goal from Inui for Japan! I do not believe it! They are 2-0 ahead. They've scored 2 goals in 6 minutes at the start of the second half. Belgium are rocked on their heels, and the golden generation of Belgium have it all to do, because Japan are 2-0 up in Rostov, and the Japanese fans looking around them can barely believe what's happened here. Belgium 0, Japan 2.
Oh, shock is on! The underdogs, Inui, 25 yards out. This is a brilliant finish. Kompany heads the ball out. I think it's to Kagawa, and then he lays it off to Inui, gets his head up and picks out a sublime finish. Fires it into the far left-hand corner, Courtois' net. It's a wonderful finish. Belgium are on the brink.
Wow. Belgium 0, Japan 2. Do not go anywhere now for the next, well, at least 35 minutes or so. That's what time Belgium have got left to try and get back into this game. Initially, try and get a couple of goals, maybe take it to extra time.
Be careful what you wish for. You don't want to win football matches. You come out, Belgium, everybody thought, I thought the easiest draw Belgium could wish for, Japan. I mean, you couldn't have written this. This is incredible.
Well, you always say it, Chris, and I know you say it slightly tongue-in-cheek. You tell me that I write off the underdogs. I could not see Japan winning this. 2 goals in 6 minutes at the start of the second half, and they're leading Belgium 2-0. And this is real pressure for this highly talented group of players. Witsel plays the ball to the right. Mounier cuts in from the right flank into the penalty area, beyond Lukaku, into the arms of Kawashima. Let's get through the teams quickly. Courtois in goal, back through Alderweireld, Kompany and Vertonghen, Mounier and Carrasco on the flanks, De Bruyne and Witsel in the middle, Mertens and Hazard in support of Lukaku.
Who cares who's playing?
No,
Japan are 2-0 up.
2 wonderful goals as well. Brilliant finishes from Haraguchi and Inui. Kawashima in goal for Japan. Back 4 of Hiroki Sakai, Mai Yoshida of Southampton, Gen Shoji and Yuto Nagatomo, I beg your pardon, the left back. And that's your fault, Chris Sutton, because you said in the first half you almost called him that. And now I have been hoisted by my own petard, having a go at Mark Chapman for not getting Papastathopoulos right. So Shibasaki and Hasebe in central midfield, Haraguchi on the right, Inui on the left. They're the 2 goal scorers. Kagawa pulling the strings, Asako through the middle, and Roberto Martinez has 35 minutes here for his team to try and find 2 goals to rescue their World Cup. Belgium 0, Japan 2. Could be a third. Kagawa into the penalty area, lays it back to the edge of the box. Witsel closes it down quickly. Japan want a free kick, they're not going to get it. And now Belgium come quickly on the counter. De Bruyne through the middle, his pass is intercepted. Good block, good defending.
That's Ibe. He's been really good, hasn't he, in front. That Japanese back 4 breaking the play up. But this isn't a Japanese team of kids. This is an experienced outfit. Average age, 27.
Very good. Never ever been in the quarterfinals of the World Cup, Japan, and they are also on the brink of achieving that. 2002 on home turf, lost 1-0 to Turkey. 2010 got very close, lost on penalties to Paraguay.
Funny old game, bad history in the last game. This could be an unbelievable story.
Sakai, the right back with the throw forward, cleared by Belgium up towards Lukaku. It bounces over him, and Yoshida side foots a ball back to Kawashima, the goalkeeper. That was a slightly nervous touch on his right foot, and that puts Nagatomo under a little bit of pressure. Nagatomo plays the ball up the left-hand side. Ball is floated up to the halfway line, nodded down to Witsel. Witsel does well, good strength. Forward to Lukaku and back to Witsel. Now De Bruyne, Belgium working this well, across to Hazard. Hazard just outside the penalty area, a wall of dark blue shirts in front of him. Hazard in his bright red flicks it cleverly infield to Carrasco on the half volley, who swings it well wide behind for the goal kick. Belgium 0, Japan 2. And right from this point, Chris Sutton, we're going to have to keep reminding people of how long is left in the game, because time already running out for Belgium. 11 minutes played in the second half, so just over half an hour for Belgium to try and find 2 goals.
Yep, and the golden generation, they will be known as the underachievers. They really will be.
Massive test for Roberto Martinez now as well, Chris.
Yep, and it is. And at Everton, I think he had a good start to his Everton career, but then I think he was known as a bit of a waffler, to be honest. They all went pear-shaped. And he is under pressure, because when you see what players he has at his disposal, you know, this is their chance, this is their era. What an opportunity wasted this would be.
Wide open World Cup. Belgium highly fancied to win it. They have really got to dig themselves out of a massive hole. BBC Radio 5 Live at the World Cup. England in action this time tomorrow night against Colombia for a place in the last 16. They could have been here facing Japan. Well, Japan are leading Belgium 2-0.
Don't count their chickens in Russian.
Don't share the bear's fur before you shoot it.
There you go, Belgium.
Exactly. 12 minutes gone, second half.
A slightly brutal, mind.
No, that is, yes, it is. Sakai, Japan playing with a real confidence now. Blocked by De Bruyne, doesn't get the free kick. Forward to Hazard. Hazard trying to turn inside his own half and wins a free kick.
I suppose the question for Japan is, can they carry on this intensity? Their pressing game has been superb, but the adrenaline can take them through.
If they pull this off, Chris, this would have to be one of the greatest results in their history.
Well, in World Cup history, wouldn't it?
It'd be a massive shock considering what they're up against here. Belgium 0, Japan 2. Belgium fans have gone totally and utterly silent.
And the coach has a plan.
Japan coming forward through the middle here. They lead 2-0. Just imagine if they get a third. Kagawa jogging neatly, plays the ball to his left-hand side. Nagatomo. Right-footed ball, back into his own half. Belgium frustrated and chasing here. Shibakasi lays it off to Asako. Asako to the right-hand side. Haraguchi with the cross into the penalty area. It comes off Witzel's head, goes wide and behind for the corner. Belgium are rocking.
And I think we would have thought when the second goal went in, it would be Belgium with the initiative, really pushing. It's Japan who look more likely to get the next goal.
Corner coming for Japan. They obviously are going to take their time over all the restarts. Just over half an hour to play, and another huge upset on the cards at this remarkable World Cup, this highly entertaining World Cup. Brazil, sitting in the quarterfinals at the moment, will be playing Japan. Referee stopping play.
And do you know what everybody
corner
will be saying? Easy draw for Brazil. Brazil, get your cigars out. You'll probably be thinking it, Ali.
Don't write off the underdog, Chris. That's what I've learned from a couple of weeks with you out here. Corner for Japan, delivered into the near post. Lukaku is back there. He needs to be up the other end and trying to put the ball in the back of the net. Belgium are 2-0 down. Lukaku intercepts. Japan don't want to get caught on the counter here. Long ball forward into their half. Kawashima's way out of his goal. He's going to be okay here because the ball is going to roll behind for a goal kick to Japan.
And what were we talking about before the game? Nangalan, the criticism, the big egos.
Yeah.
Let's see now, this last 30 minutes.
I thought we were going to be talking about...
Well, let's see their togetherness, their team spirit.
Absolutely.
Which we've heard they have got now. I don't see it at the moment. I haven't seen it for 60 minutes.
Half an hour to play. Belgium in real trouble. 2-0 down against Japan in Rostov. Kompany back into the side tonight in place of Boyata. Wins a header. And the ball comes back to Vertonghen. Vertonghen's left-footed ball forward. Hazard leaps high, flicks it on. No one there to pick it up behind him. Yoshida clears the ball away with his right foot, and it comes bouncing all the way through to Thibaut Courtois. Courtois bowls it out underarm. Exactly half an hour to play. BBC Radio 5 Live at the World Cup. Full commentary on England against Colombia tomorrow night. England, who lost to Belgium, finished runners-up in the group, seem to have dropped on the easier side of the draw. I wonder if they'll be watching and listening. Well, there isn't. Right, I'll shut up about that. Vertonghen to Kompany. 2 goals they've got to find. And Japan just holding their shape. harrying Belgium anytime they get the ball up near the halfway line. Kompany sideways to Alderweireld. Hazard into the centre circle, turns it around the corner to De Bruyne. De Bruyne can't find his pass though. Intercepted, he was looking for Mertens. Japan clear, throw into Belgium on the right hand side, just inside the Japan half, which they've taken, and Nagatomo is there. Right foot's a clearance out of play. Belgium throw. Little stat for you from Opta Joe, the last team to come from 2 goals down to win a World Cup knockout round match. Germany against England, West Germany against England back in 1970. Wow. Lukaku lays it off to Mertens. Mertens to his right hand side finds Meunier. Lukaku! Oh, he's missed a glorious chance. Header 4 yards out. You thought he was going to bury it. It's sliced off his forehead and gone wide.
It's got to score, Lukaku. It's a brilliant ball in, whipped in from near the byline from Meunier. And Lukaku level with the near post, 4 yards out. That's your big game player, your top goal scorer. He should have buried it wide of the far post.
That is almost 50 years ago that happened, that West Germany came from 2 down in a knockout match to beat England. That's how difficult it is to do in World Cups. Chadli and Fellaini getting ready to come on for Belgium.
You can't rule Belgium out. You cannot rule them out with the firepower they have at their disposal.
Remarkable stuff so far this evening. Remarkable start to the second half. 2 wonderfully taken goals from Inouye and Haraguchi. Haraguchi with the first, and Inouye beating Thibaut Courtois with a pile driver from 25 yards to get Japan 2 in front. De Bruyne gives it to Kompany. Fellaini is waiting, hands on hips and ready to go. And Juliet, our producer, is telling me that Carrasco and Mertens will be the players coming off. I think that's the Japanese fans. Loudest we've heard them so far this evening. Alderweireld with his right foot plays the ball wide to the right hand side. Meunier infield, can't find Hazard. Meunier chases the clearance, little back heel. Mertens onto Hazard. Hazard up to the edge of the area, almost left the ball behind. Chance to cross, pulls it back. Mertens can't get there. Intercepted, and Japan come clear. 18 minutes gone in this second half. Ball through the middle for Haraguchi to chase. Vertonghen heads it away. Kagawa gets onto it for Japan.
Don't rule out a third for Japan.
3 on 4 here. Japan only have 3, but they've worked it well. Played to the left-hand side. This is Osako. Osako's cross. Kompany's there, nods it away. Belgium 0, Japan 2. 27 minutes remaining as Fellaini and Chadli get the last instructions from Roberto Martinez. Ball is floated out by Shoji to Sakai. Sakai and Kagawa. Brilliant 1-2. Sakai into the penalty area. Low cross. Courtois blocks with his right foot, and the rebound came back to Osako. He couldn't convert it. Behind for the goal kick. Marouane Fellaini's coming on. Well.
Oh, it's really good from Japan. Worked it well down that right-hand side. Saki firing the ball across, and Courtois just got his right boot to it. Scrambled clear.
So Chadli is coming on for Carrasco, and it was Mertens who came off for Fellaini. So we'll watch Belgium reorganise. The story, by the way, I thought you were going to say from our chat at lunchtime was your incredibly honest waiter the other night when you'd said to him, shall I have the fish burger, in a restaurant, actually in Kazan, and he said, don't have that, it's disgusting.
Yeah, and we need more of that back home, don't we?
Bit of honesty.
Honest waiters, good waitering ship. Is that a word?
Not sure it is. 20 minutes gone second half. Belgium are in massive trouble here at Russia 2018. 2-0 down to Japan, and Fellaini's on. And Fellaini's on the ball, and he's giving it to Hazard. Hazard to Meunier. Back to Hazard. Meunier, edge of the area, curling shot over the bar. Behind for the goal kick.
Yes, well worked down the right-hand side. Hazard, little burst, comes back inside, feeds Meunier. 18, 19 yards out.
25.
Difficult one, that, trying to bend it into the far corner, gets it all wrong.
25 minutes to go. BBC Radio 5 Live. Build up towards England's game from 6 o'clock with Rachel Burden live in Moscow tomorrow morning. Robbie Savage's World Cup breakfast at 8:30. And 5 Live Sport from midday, live from Moscow and Wimbledon. Mark Chapman will be inside the Spartak Stadium for full commentary of Colombia against England. Belgium 0, Japan 2.
Yeah, and Chadley's just come out on this left-hand side, straight swap for Carrasco. Silly challenge, and Japan will just take the time.
Juliet's just told me it's 4:20 in the morning in Tokyo. So there'll be people waking up or staying up bleary-eyed who cannot believe what they're watching or listening to. Now, has Mounier kept... No, he hasn't kept that ball in. He's conceded a corner here.
Well, you think back in Japan they must have thought themselves, after the shambles of the last game, not trying to win the game. How many people would have stayed up believing this team? They didn't have a plan. The coach said he didn't have a plan.
Corner's taken short. Japan are 2-0 up against Belgium. Cross is going to come in from the left-hand side. Courtois will let that go. It's too deep, and it's behind for the goal kick. Belgium have less than 25 minutes to try and rescue their World Cup. This wide-open World Cup, we were saying before the game, Belgium, France, Brazil, possibly, in terms of squad depth, possibly the strongest here.
Well, not possibly, they are.
We actually said that in unison there. Probably the first time on this trip. We also took a picture before the game today where Chris Sutton, on our photos before the games, has been letting me stand a step above him. Today he didn't, and I've had some very amusing responses. One saying with the audio version of the Crankies on 5 Live, which I know you're going to really enjoy.
Is that a compliment?
Not to me. Midway through the second half, Belgium 0, Japan 2, and Japan on the ball, on the halfway line.
Well, that's Belgium who are cranky at the moment, isn't it?
Shoji, the centre-back, plays it to the left-hand side. Nagatomo, the left-back, into midfield. And Belgium frustrated at the moment. They've got the subs on. Oh, now Japan have lost it here on the halfway line. Hazard's almost in. Ball ran away from him, and it goes out for a throw-in. Martinez, desperate for his team to get on with it, grabs the ball and gives it to Chadli. Chadli to Hazard, back to Witsel. Witsel plays it into midfield. Here's Alderweireld in the centre circle, up the middle to Fellaini. Fellaini turns the ball to the right-hand side. Low cross, Lukaku's effort blocked at the near post, and Mounier can't get onto the rebound. Really good defending. Was it Yoshida?
Yeah, Yoshida had to get that right. Lukaku got the run on him. It's really incisive play down the right-hand side from Belgium. Looked like Lukaku was going to score. All of a sudden, Yoshida went to ground, got the ball. Brilliant defending.
Referees, just before that throw in there, was looking at Fellaini and talking about shirt pulling. Fellaini's into the penalty area. Hasabi was marking him. I think he was saying to both players, do not do it because I will pick you up for it. Corner to Belgium. They're 2-0 down against Japan. BBC Radio 5 Live at the World Cup. Another incredible evening of drama. The winners of this one play Brazil in the quarter-finals. De Bruyne with the corner, swinging away. Headed up in the air by Chadli. Goalkeeper's come a long way. Kawashima punches it, gets a little bit lucky.
He's not convincing.
Ball's gone high in the air. Vertonghen heads it right back. Oh, it's in! It's in from Jan Vertonghen. A remarkable header from a really tight angle. It all came from Kawashima's punch. That was then headed straight up in the air. Kawashima was at 6s and 7s, and Vertonghen has placed his header, lobbed it quite brilliantly over the keeper to give Belgium a chance in this last 16 tie. Belgium 1, Japan 2.
Well, it's dreadful goalkeeping initially. Kawashima too slow off his line, a poor punch, but it's an astonishing header from Vertonghen. I mean, he must be 12, 14 yards out at an acute angle. I don't think he's trying to score from there. I think he's trying to head it back into an area, but it loops over Kawashima into the far corner. Belgium have hope.
Belgium have a lifeline. 20 minutes to play. Belgium 1, Japan 2. Jan Vertonghen with the goal is 9th for his country. VAR just had a check of a possible offside, but the check is over. The goal stands, and now Kompany has been fouled.
Got away with that.
Right down by the byline, defending his own goal. You think he's gone down too easily there, do you, Chris?
Well, he has. I think he's lucky. And I think it's Sissoko who's unhappy about that decision. But you looked at me really strangely, not for the first time since we've been in Russia. You thought Vertonghen meant that.
Yes, I do. I definitely think that. I think he was looking to lob the keeper and put it into the far corner.
He was looking to head it back towards the far post. He got lucky.
Well, Belgium 1, Japan 2, whichever way you see it. 20 minutes to play, and this is going to be thrilling stuff now. Can Japan hold out? Are we going to head to extra time? Is it going to be another penalty shootout? What can Belgium pull out of the locker? Vertonghen with the goal. Belgium 1, Japan 2. Kagawa getting in a bit of a mix-up there in the centre circle. Manages to keep the ball, plays it back to Yoshida. Yoshida to the left-hand side, and Nagatomo.
Can we cope with extra time?
I'm not sure we can, Chris. I'm not sure our relationship will last extra time. We've still got a quarter-final to do as well. By the way, France-Uruguay is the game we're scheduled to do. That is a definite quarter-final, as is Russia-Croatia. Brazil awaiting the winners of this one, and England playing for a place in the quarter-finals tomorrow. End-to-end now. This is fabulous. Belgium 1, Japan 2. Nagatomo down the left, cross into the near post. Alderweireld intercepts, knocks it behind for a corner.
Yeah, Nagatomo, really good ball in, whipped in across the near post from the byline. Alderweireld in a good position, but it's end-to-end now.
It's amazing stuff, really, considering Japan, the way they played in that last group game against Poland, really took a risk there, could easily have gone out, and here they are leading 2-1. Corner taken short. Ball is played back to Shibasaki. He's been tackled. Chadley's taking it off in Belgium, trying to come on the break. Chadley using his pace. Inouye can't pull him back. That might well be a yellow card, but advantage has been played. De Bruyne, Belgium plenty forward. Hazard on the left-hand side. Belgium looking for the equaliser into the penalty area. Just slows things down. Sideways to De Bruyne. Onto the right foot. Oh, it's deflected. Brilliant defending. Brilliant defending from... I thought it was Nagatomo who got his body in the way, and it's deflected and up and over the bar. Doesn't matter anyway.
Shoji. No, it doesn't. There's a really good break from Belgium. That pace, I'm surprised there's not a booking or two involved there. But when De Bruyne gets the ball on his foot 18 yards out, you're thinking goal.
VAR are looking at a possible handball here on the block.
No.
And you're absolutely right, it was Shoji. Shoji sliding in. Oh no, I'm right actually. Nagatomo got there first.
No, it was Shoji.
No, it was Nagatomo.
No, it wasn't.
Nagatomo. You see that again, I promise you. 18 minutes to play. Belgium back in the game. Belgium 1, Japan 2, still checking for a possible penalty. That's what it says on my screen. Referee blows his whistle and says he's listening.
Shocked.
Yeah, it's not. It's a corner. Hazard will take it with his right foot into the penalty area. Good defending. Witsel is there. Witsel side foots it back to De Bruyne. Desperate times for Belgium at the moment. Hazard, corner of the penalty area. Good skill on his left foot. Gets the cross in. Fellaini heads it down and in. And Belgium are level. The big man comes on, gets his header from close range, and he goes absolutely berserk in the celebrations. Japan 2-0 up. All of a sudden have been pegged back. Brilliant from Belgium. Belgium 2, Japan 2.
I tell you what, he's a defender's worst nightmare. Brilliant in both boxes. Fellaini, really good from Hazard. Works the ball well. Shapes across it in right-footed. Shifts it back onto his left foot. Tantalising ball. And it just wants someone to go and attack it. And boy, does Fellaini attack it. Powers the header in to the left-hand side of Kawashima. It's a brilliant header. And Belgium showing real fight to get themselves back in this.
So the Belgium goals coming within the space of 5 minutes, and the Japanese goals coming within the space of 4 minutes at the start of the second half. From nowhere, 4 goals in the game. And you actually said, Chris Sutton, right at the start, and I know that wasn't a set piece, but aerially, Japan might struggle. That's obviously the plan with bringing Fellaini on, and it's worked.
Yeah, it was the worry before the game. Set plays, crosses into the box are our weakness. Yoshida said it before the game. And Fellaini, that presence though.
Oh, risky ball from Vertonghen. Belgium have lost it now. Where's this game going next? Kagawa plays it to the edge of the penalty area. Inouye couldn't get the shot away. Nagatomo's there, floats it across the face of goal and out for a throw-in to Belgium in their left-back position.
I tell you what a chance that was. As Inouye, left-hand side, shifts it. Alderweireld it is, gets back, slides. Brilliant block.
15 minutes to play. Japan were 2-0 up. 2 goals right at the start of the second half. Now Belgium 2, Japan 2.
So who are you ruling out now?
I'm not ruling anything in or anything out. Absolutely no idea. Belgium 2, Japan 2. Fantastic entertainment again at this thrilling World Cup. Floated ball for Haraguchi to chase. Couldn't quite keep it in. Goes out for a goal kick to Belgium. 15 minutes to play, 15 minutes away from extra time. Still the possibility of penalties tonight. Belgium 2, Japan 2. I think we'll probably melt by that stage. And here's Witsel, and of course England back in action tomorrow. Now Roberto Martinez is just trying to get instructions on. Calm down, everyone calm down. Both hands out, let's keep the ball, let's play.
Wasn't that a good ball from Hazard on the left-hand side? It's time to shine, he said before this game.
Hazard
he shone there.
Wins a free kick, takes it quickly, gives it to Fellaini. Fellaini plays it out to Meunier on the right-hand side. The reason the Japanese coach made all the changes in the last game against Poland was to keep the players fresh for a potentially leg-sapping, lung-bursting encounter like this one. They were 2-0 up, never ever been in the quarter-finals, and now Belgium are coming at them really hard. BBC Radio 5 Live at the World Cup. Belgium 2, Japan 2. Japan now switch play quickly to the right-hand side. Sakai, the right-back, has just about kept it in. Chadley's trying to stay with him, and Sakai's got the beating of him. Asako in the middle, cross comes in, Kompany heads it away. Kagawa takes a touch on the edge of the penalty area, flicks it in towards Asako, couldn't find him, and it's in the arms of Courtois.
Yeah, but they look a threat, don't they, Japan? Every time they go forward. Kompany did well. You just feel there's another goal here within the 90 minutes.
Belgium 2, Japan 2, as we found out earlier on from Wimbledon. Love to be in the house with Tim Clijsters and Kei Nishikori, supporting Belgium and Japan. More Wimbledon for you on 5 Live tomorrow. We're on air from midday, building up to England, live from Moscow, live from Wimbledon. Here come Belgium, 2-2 against Japan. Fellaini making tracks into the middle. Yoshida is going to stick with him this time. Hazard with a little jink and a burst of speed, though.
This is like Wimbledon.
It is.
One rally.
End to end. De Bruyne. First time pass back to Alderweireld. Alderweireld thought about the diagonal. Now he goes for it with his right foot. 13 minutes away from extra time. Chadley with the dark hair tied back, heading for the byline on the left-hand side. Cross in again to the far post. Lukaku attacks it, heads it back across goal. No real power, and it's behind for a Japan goal kick. If you are a fan of Japan, every time that ball gets floated in from one of the flanks for Belgium, you'll be having kittens.
Yeah, you see the likes of Fellaini and Lukaku. Big, strong, tall, physical men. They look a threat. Lukaku gets up well. Shoji, to his credit, doesn't let him get an easy header in.
Just taking a glug of water there with 12 minutes to play, because I think we've got some fairly exciting action on the way for you here on 5 Live. 12 minutes to go. Belgium 2, Japan 2. All the goals have come in the second half. Japan 2-0 up, scoring 2 very quickly at the start of the second half, and Belgium have responded quite brilliantly. And here's De Bruyne trying to make it happen for Belgium now. Yellow number 7 on the back of his red shirt. Plays the ball back to Alderweireld. Alderweireld comes steaming forward. 40 yards from goal. Right-footed. Plays the ball out to Meunier. Meunier takes his time. Little 1-2 with Alderweireld. Japan have every single player inside their own half. And now Alderweireld on the ball is going to switch it to the left-hand side. Wonderful pass. Killed stone dead by Hazard. Ball is tied to his right boot. De Bruyne looking for Hazard again. Couldn't quite find him. De Bruyne having to try and fight for this ball. Wants it to go out for another corner. Yeah. He knows Belgium will be dangerous from those set pieces.
And that is their threat. You've got Witsel, who is 6'3", 6'4", who actually doesn't go in the box to head the ball. That tells you how many tall guys Belgium have.
Always going on about the height. Just over 10 minutes to play. De Bruyne to the back post. Kompany heads it back across goal. And it's headed behind for another corner. This time it's Shibasaki who is there for Japan. Could have almost been the carbon copy there of the Vertonghen header. That sort of high lobbed, floated header back towards the far post. Another corner for Belgium. Hazard's there for the short one. Takes, oh dear. Tries to play the 1-2 with De Bruyne. Makes a mess of it. The ball goes behind. For goodness sake, what on earth were they doing there?
What do you say about that? I mean, you think the value of those two players, how much would they be worth combined? 150, 200 million?
Easily, yeah.
And they can't play a 1-2.
Pressure of the World Cup for you. Japan getting ready to make a change here. This is a big one as well. Keisuke Honda, about to come on and win his 98th cap, has scored 4 goals in World Cup football. Scored against Cameroon and Denmark 2010. Scored against Ivory Coast in Brazil 2014. And here he comes, number 4. Keisuke Honda is on for Shibasaki in midfield.
Well, can he drive Japan on for victory?
10 minutes left. Belgium 2, Japan 2. And Yamaguchi, they made a double change here. Hotaru Yamaguchi has come on. And we'll find out in a second who's come off. Haraguchi has come off. Chadli on the left-hand side. Hazard. 2 defenders come across to cover him because he's obviously the danger man. 9 minutes away from extra time here in Rostov on BBC Radio 5 Live. Full commentary on England, Colombia tomorrow night. But this is enthralling. Belgium 2, Japan 2. Fellaini, scorer of that second goal, has lost it high up the field. Kagawa plays it forward to Osako. Back to Kagawa. Fellaini's trying to win it back for Belgium here, but the ball runs nicely for Japan. And they'll play from the back up to the halfway line. Kagawa, here's Honda. His first touch, easy to spot with the sort of reddish, lighter hair. Ball back to Sakai, into Kagawa. Honda again. 3 Belgian players in front of him. Does well to keep it. Kagawa wasn't watching the ball, runs over his boot and goes out for a throw.
Tidy in possession though, aren't they, Japan? They keep the ball really well. That was sloppy, and I think they'll be shell-shocked from those 2 quick goals from Belgium, but they are still well in this.
8 minutes away from extra time. Belgium 2, Japan 2. The ball just hits Shoji's hand accidentally there. Roberto Martinez is appealing for the handball. It came off his body though, completely accidental. I don't think that was a free kick. Yoshida clears up to the halfway line. Honda with his left foot passes across the halfway line into midfield. Hasabi moves it on. Shoji plays it to the left-hand side. And now Belgium have a little bit of defending to do. Belgium 2, Japan 2. Kagawa's little 1-2 in midfield. Yamaguchi has come on, and he's playing centrally. Now he replaced Haraguchi, the goal scorer, who's playing wide on the right-hand side. So a little change for Japan there. Inui plays it down the left to Nagatomo. Kagawa inside the Belgian penalty area, onto the right foot, slides it in. Honda! Oh, well tackled. Vincent Kompany with a brilliant sliding challenge to knock it behind for a corner.
Really good from Kagawa, pulling the strings. Honda driving run, gets in, looks to fire the shot. Timely block from Kompany.
Taking the corner short, Japan. Cross coming in from the right-hand side. Way too easy for Courtois to catch. No one attacks that.
What an important block that was. Vincent Kompany, Honda, 6-7 yards out on the angle.
John Arna-Risa on social media says, who is the tallest player for Japan? Put him on. It doesn't matter if he's good or bad, as long as he's tall. So he's having a go on the whole height thing now. I just can't escape it, Chris.
I think you're paranoid.
I think I might be. 7 minutes to go, and then extra time. Belgium 2, Japan 2. Chadli trying to flick down the left-hand side. Japan led 2-0. If you have just tuned into 5 Live, Sakai's taken a knock. He goes hobbling away. 2 goals right at the start of the second half. Had them dreaming of a quarter-final against Brazil, but Belgium have responded brilliantly. Hazard plays the ball back to the Tongan. Now Kompany turns and comes all the way back to Thibaut Courtois. And there's a real tension crackling inside the Rostov arena here, wondering just which path this game is going to take. Alderweireld to Witsel. Witsel with his left foot. Low pass played out to Meunier on the right-hand side. Fellaini going steaming outside him on the right. Fellaini's cross in. Yoshida is there to head it away. Witsel wins the next ball. Fellaini's still out on that.
You don't want him out there. You want him in the box, in between the posts.
Chris Sutton with us on 5 Live. Alderweireld chips it into the box. Chadli won't really chase. Yoshida beat him to it. Heads it away. What a Japan appealing there for a foul on Yoshida. Anyway, he's nodded it out and he'll go out for a Belgium throw. 5 minutes and counting. Cross comes in, dangerous one. Chadli attacks it. Oh, great save, Kawashima. Full length, palms it away. Another one. Lukaku. Oh, Kawashima again at full stretch. Double save by the Japanese keeper. Tips it over the bar and behind for a corner.
And that threat from crosses. I think Kawashima should save them both, if I'm being totally honest. Throws himself to the right-hand side. The old Photoshop saves that one, and the second one tips it over, but there's such a threat.
Corner for Belgium. De Bruyne takes it into the penalty area, headed away. Meunier drives one into the box, takes a deflection. Kawashima had it covered.
Has to be a corner.
Belgium won a corner.
Has to be a corner.
Belgium won a corner. Referee's given it the other way, and it's a goal kick.
Yeah, just seeing these saves again. He should have caught the first one. Yeah. Come on, Kawashima. And the second one. Just catch it.
You're right. There's a real sort of arching of the body and a real sort of acrobatic flair to the saves. 4 minutes to go. Belgium 2, Japan 2. Company, left-footed ball, flicked on by Vertonghen, who started the Belgium comeback with the brilliant header that I thought was deliberate and Chris Sutton thought was a fluke. Mounier plays it down the right-hand side to Lukaku. Lukaku on his left foot, running across the Japanese half, fires a pass at Hazard, controls it on his right thigh. Hazard, edge of the area, looking for the ball here to Mounier. Mounier lays it off to Witsel. De Bruyne has gone deep, 30 yards out in a central position. Now to Vertonghen, lines up the shot. Vertonghen hits it, Kawashima saves. Fellaini looking for the rebound, gets onto it with his back to goal, and the offside flag's up. So Japan can breathe a huge sigh of relief. Belgium 2, Japan 2.
Yeah, they're turning the screw, Belgium. Really good play across the box to Vertonghen, who hammers a left foot shot 25 yards out. Tries to beat Kawashima at his near post. The keeper parries it offside anyway.
Winners of this one will meet Brazil in the quarterfinals. Brazil beat Mexico 2-0 earlier on today. Some fabulous support from the Japanese fans away to our right-hand side as I stand up there. Loads and loads of the Japanese flags, the bright white with the big red circle in the middle as Kompany plays it back to Courtois. Gives it straight back to him in a left-back position. The second half's just absolutely disappeared. There's 3 minutes left of it, plus added time. And then we're going to go again for another 30. And we had all that drama yesterday, of course. Russia beating Spain on penalties. Croatia beating Denmark on penalties. I know you enjoyed the goalkeeping in particular in the Croatia-Denmark, where, you know, people on social media were complaining about the goalkeepers coming off their line.
That's social media. There's a lot of rubbish talked on that, isn't there?
De Bruyne moving swiftly towards the Japan penalty area. Mounier's first time cross, gets that wrong now. Lukaku's gone down in the penalty area. I think he wanted a penalty. Actually, the decision's gone against him. Yoshida was with him. He's fouled Yoshida.
Yeah, look, I don't think Lukaku's appealing for a penalty as the ball played out to the right-hand side. Poor cross from Mounier. It's a coming together. It's a collision, a clash. Could have gone up. Well, it's not going to go either way. There's nothing in it.
No. Free kick has gone Japan's way, though. Their drum's still beating. They led 2-0. 2 early goals at the start of this second half.
An incredible match. Brilliant. Incredible match. The team that didn't want to win it against a team that didn't try to win it.
That's right.
And they're both going for it.
Both desperate to win it because it's a knockout tie. Last 16, 90 seconds remaining of the 90 minutes. Belgium going to find a winner here. Chadli on the dribble into the penalty area, too strong. Can he get his cross in? No, just stopped in time by Sakai. Japan looking a little bit tired there. Trying to get the challenge in on Chadli, throw in for Hazard. No, he's going to stop and wait, and this is real danger for Japan here. Look in that penalty area.
Has he got a long throw, Vertonghen? I can't remember.
No, I'm not sure. Fellaini's lurking at the near post, Lukaku at the far post, and Vertonghen, oh, he has, yeah, long one into the penalty area. Not great direction on it. Headed away. Kompany's battling for it midway inside the Japan half, but he's fouled Osako there. Japan get the free kick. We're into the 90th minute. I can't believe that. I mean, that just has gone in a flash. Belgium 2, Japan 2. 30 more minutes on the way. And I think with the Russia-Spain game, I think some people felt they didn't want 30 more minutes of that yesterday. I mean, you have to love 30 more minutes of this coming your way on 5 Live tonight. Chris Sutton is with us in the Rostov Arena. Just over 40,000 enjoying it here live. Belgium 2, Japan 2. England, Colombia, 7 o'clock kickoff tomorrow night in full from the Spartak Stadium on 5 Live. Kagawa plays the ball to the left-hand side. Nagatomo's cross in, takes a deflection. Courtois flying to his right. He's going wide anyway. He's palmed it behind for a corner. We got 4 minutes of added time.
Really well worked down the left-hand side, Japan. And as the ball's pulled back, it's actually Witsel who deflects it with his right foot back towards his own goal. Courtois down smartly to his right-hand side, turns it round for a corner.
Well, with the threat Belgium, of course, from their set pieces, it would be hugely ironic were Japan. I'm not ruling anything out now, Chris. Absolutely nothing. Belgium 2, Japan 2. We're in added time at the end of the second half. Corner for Japan will come in from the left wing. Curled into the near post.
Rule
Easy.
it out.
Rule it out there. Terrible delivery. De Bruyne heads it away. He stoops and nods it away.
You think they'd try and work something, though, wouldn't you? A short one. Bit of innovation.
Throw into Hasebe. Comes back to Nagatomo, bursts in from the right-hand side. Kagawa just ran into De Bruyne. De Bruyne takes it away from him, gives it to Lukaku. Well, not quite actually. Shoji was there first. That could have been a really interesting one-on-one, but Shoji had a much better chance to get to the ball. Kawashima thumps it downfield, headed forward by Mounier. And Japan will get a free kick on the halfway line because Nagatomo was fouled by De Bruyne jumping for the ball.
Hats off to Japan.
Brilliant. Absolutely.
I mean, this game has been a 50-50 game. We thought Belgium would be superior. Many thought it would be a walkover. Japan have been really good. They've been brave. They've been attacking. What a game.
Belgium 2, Japan 2. Half an hour more on the way, possibly, unless something happens in the next 2.5 minutes. And at the moment, it might happen for Japan. Osako, challenged from behind by Kompany. Free kick's a good 40 yards out. Surely can't shoot from there, but let's see what Japan can do. Oh, look at Sakai was just making a run, and Kagawa was thinking about the quick one, but the referee has said, hold it, I want you to wait until I blow my whistle.
You can't shoot from there.
Do you think I'm going to regret that? Honda. Left foot like a... No, don't even say it. Long way out. Do you really think he's going to have a go from there?
No.
Okay. Maybe
you can't score from there.
Okay. Let's see. Belgium 2, Japan 2. Deep in added time at the end of the second half. Heading towards extra time.
That's what Courtois thinks.
Two-man wall. Lukaku stepped in as well. Lukaku and Hazard as a two-man wall. Little conversation here between Hasebe and Honda. Honda lines it up. The free kick is slap bang in the middle of the Belgian half. And Courtois stands with his hands on his thighs at the moment, waiting for the delivery from Honda. Heading into the last minute of added time. Honda stops, concentrates. Here he comes. Dipper with his left foot. Courtois to his right. Palms it away. Easy save. Corner Japan.
Yeah, it's a long way out, but he gets good purchase. Dip on the ball to save Courtois. Should make. You shouldn't be beaten from 40 yards out. Turns it round the post. Doesn't get a step in.
Last minute of added time. Japan are attacking. They have the set piece. Belgium with the aerial threat at the other end of the pitch, but Japan with a chance to snatch this at the death. Corner from the left. They've never ever been in a World Cup quarter-final. Courtois comes, makes a good clean catch, and now there could be trouble for Belgium as they come forward here. De Bruyne sprinting through the middle, options left and right. Belgium could win it here. He's given it to Mounier. Mounier to Lukaku, steps over it, Chadli! Chadli with the goal for Belgium. Japan are distraught. They're flat on their backs. A stunning counter-attack from Belgium wins it in the last minute of added time. Courtois bowled it out. De Bruyne went slicing through the middle. They eventually found Chadli. He stuck it away, and Belgium will be playing Brazil in the quarterfinals from 2-0 down. They've won it 3-2 in the 94th minute of the game.
Brutal Belgium. This is brilliant. Courtois takes the corner, and it's a sharp counter-attack, end to end, and it's devastating. De Bruyne, you can't let him get his head up and make a pass. He makes the pass, he pops it out to the right-hand side, and then it's all about the weight of pass. Lukaku dummies the ball, and Chadli, well, he can't really miss. Belgium haven't bottled it tonight. Stunning comeback.
Well, to my mind, added time is up. Now, obviously, there was a good 90 seconds of celebration there, so Japan have one last launch at it. I mean, absolutely heartbreaking for them. They left themselves open from the corner, and as soon as De Bruyne set off, gliding through that midfield with options left and right, you thought it was real trouble. Referee not happy with the kickoff. No, he is. That's it. All over. Belgium are through to the quarterfinals against Brazil, and after all the celebrations, Japan didn't even have time to try and get back down the other end. The referee at the moment, I thought he's just got his hand to his ear here, and he's listening to the control room. He's blown the full-time whistle. Belgium's players are celebrating. Japan led 2-0 early in the second half. Somehow, Chris Sutton, Belgium have turned it around, and Belgium-Brazil is a lip-smacking quarter-final.
This is the most staggering World Cup ever, isn't it? I mean, credit to Belgium. 2-0 down. They were out of this competition. And did they have the spirit to get themselves back in it? Boy, did they. The Japanese players, the coach, are looking absolutely shell-shocked. Is that the sign of a champion, though? That comeback. You set a record. When was it the last time a side came from
1970, West Germany did it to England.
There you go. And we know Belgium have the flair. We know they have the talent. But did they have the heart? That was the question tonight. And boy, did they have the heart.
Well, this is how it happened. 0-0 at half-time. Haraguchi and Inouye scored 2 goals in the space of 4 minutes to get them 2-0 in front. Back came Belgium, using the height. Vertonghen with a fabulous lobbed header that dropped in to make it 2-1. Fellaini off the bench to get it to 2-2. Japan with a corner late in the game, left themselves open. They were sliced apart by Kevin De Bruyne initially. Nasser Chadli tucked it away, and Belgium into the quarterfinals of the World Cup to face Brazil. Breathless, brilliant drama at Russia 2018 again. The full-time score, Belgium 3, Japan 2.
What an astonishing half of football. And do you know, with about 5 minutes to go, Chris and Ali, I was just thinking, last night I watched Croatia and Denmark do everything to not make a mistake all the way through that second half and into extra time, so that they didn't make the mistake that cost their side a possible chance of making it to the quarterfinals, whereas both Belgium and Japan went the other way, didn't they? And were doing everything they possibly could to win it rather than fear losing it.
I mean, it's incredible to be here and to witness this comeback. I mean, it really is. And you know, said at the start, don't underestimate Japan and the part they played in this game. But at 2-0, you know, we're talking about one of the most talented squads, one of the most talented teams, the golden generation. This was their year. This was their time. But they had to dig deep. You know, they had to dig deep from within. And, you know, they did it so well. But credit to Japan, they tried to win the game at the end. It was the nature of the second half. But Belgium, you know, Brazil in the next game, but they're not going to have a harder game than this all tournament. Credit to Belgium, though.
You don't think Brazil will be harder in the quarter-final?
I mean, that was... Japan was so well organised, and we can talk about, you know, the qualities which Brazil have, but Belgium, you know, they were in a real scrap tonight. Are you telling me it's going to be easier, Mark?
No, I was just getting you to clarify your statement. All I'm
saying is all I've heard all this World Cup is we'll write this team off, that team off. They're going to go out. They're hopeless. They're not strong. What happened tonight? A team written off, the easiest draw in the last 16. They went toe to toe. Do you know what, Japan? They must feel, how have we lost this game?
Ali, just describe the scenes in front of you, because the Japanese players have gone over to their fans.
Yeah, well, it's been brilliant. So at either end of the pitch, we have the Belgians celebrating at the moment. They're linking arms and doing that sort of Borussia Dortmund thing with the fans and lifting them, and the fans are going, way, way, way. But equally, the Japanese players to a man right down to the other end of the field. I mean, absolute desolation for them, but a standing ovation from their fans for the part they played in this game, leading 2-0. We thought the improbable might happen, and they just couldn't hold Belgium in the end. But a remarkable game of football, and there was a lovely moment as well, Mark, I have to describe, between the two coaches, because Roberto Martinez turned to Akira Nishino, the Japanese boss, and he was standing there just like a ghostly look on his face. I mean, just hollow, just staring into the distance, couldn't believe it. And Martinez almost apologised. He shook his hand, gave him a conciliatory hug. He really felt for his opposite number there, and you can understand why. But the thrill for me at the end of that game was as soon as Courtois bowled that ball out and you saw De Bruyne with that silky gliding stride, you thought, this is on and Japan are in trouble, and they were ruthless there.
And do you know the ironic thing, Mark, is before the game I didn't want any of these sides to go through because of the attitude of the coaches in the last game. After this game, I want both of them to go through.
Both coaches?
Martinez said he didn't want to win the England game. That's right. And the Japanese coach didn't try and win against Poland. That was the message he sent on to his players.
And every time, I promise I'm not trying to catch you out, but every time you say something, I then want to ask a question which might be deemed provocative. But if you follow that route...
Ask it.
If you follow that route...
I'm tired.
So do you want England to go out?
Do I want England to go? I tell you what, though.
Well, Gareth Southgate picked a weakened side to play Belgium.
And do you think that was a risk doing that? Do you think England, 60 minutes into this game, we were all thinking the game the same thing? Sorry,
Chris,
I'm trying to get my words out now.
Chris,
what was Gareth Southgate thinking 60 minutes into this game? This was a Belgian team which had made plenty of changes against England, and they were struggling. They were going out of the World Cup. Credit to them that they got back into it, but it was a risk making the changes. They were sloppy in the first half. That was evident.
Okay, Chris and Ali are going to stay with us. Terry Butcher's going to stay with us as well. Ricardo Setien will join us and his mood has fluctuated over the last half hour. Let me tell you, he was a lot happier when Japan were 2-0 up. Anyhow, it's exactly 9 o'clock. We'll talk to them all. First, they're the latest BBC News.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
The news on 5 Live, I'm Kate Holdsworth. Rescue teams in Thailand have found 12 boys and their football coach alive after 9 days missing in caves. They were discovered by 2 British divers on a ledge in a cavern after becoming stranded by rising water and mud. Theresa May told the Commons that the UK will leave the customs union and single market after Brexit while maintaining a close relationship with the EU. It's thought Number 10 has produced a third proposal for handling customs, which the Cabinet will discuss on Friday. Police Scotland say the death of a schoolgirl on the Isle of Bute is being treated as unexplained. The body of a young girl was found in Woodland at about 9 o'clock this morning. Officers say they believe it's 6-year-old Alicia McPhail, who'd been reported missing 2.5 hours earlier. Prosecutors in New York are bringing further sexual assault charges against Harvey Weinstein. They relate to allegations by a third woman. Last month, the Hollywood producer pleaded not guilty to charges of rape and a criminal sexual act involving 2 women.
F1, the Austrian Grand Prix.
Lewis Hamilton seems to be going incredibly slowly. He's pulling off the circuit. Hamilton is out of the race.
Lost power. Okay, stop.
He's been told to stop, and he pulls off at the side of the circuit. Both Mercedes retiring from the race, and this is dramatic as far as the championship is concerned.
You couldn't write a script for a race like that in Spielberg. Download all the reaction from the Checker Flag podcast.
F1 on 5 Live.
5 Live Sport at the World Cup with Mark Chapman.
And former England captain Terry Butcher is with me, as is Ricardo Setien, mainly to talk Brazil, a team he knows very well indeed. But you did watch that second half. What's wrong, Ricardo, already?
Can I talk about Argentina a little bit?
Well, that wasn't the plan, Ricardo. But if you want to gloat at some point, then maybe we'll allow it. But given your reaction to us watching Belgium come from 2-0 down to beat Japan 3-2, you would have preferred Brazil to face Japan in the quarterfinals?
No, I don't think. Of course, it would be easier. It would be lighter, but that's not the point. The point is that Japan have shown something that it's above my understanding. I follow the Japanese football. We know Brazilians, Zico especially, build up the J League and so on, and they are learning to have this extra personality in the pitch. They play football. Inui, what a player. And Honda, my God, these are world-class players. I don't know if Terry agrees with me, but basically they deserve at least the extra time. They did something amazing. Now, as I was telling, the Belgians, they had the heart, fine, but the Japanese, they just lacked that courage that the samurais needed. I don't know.
And do you think, because, as you say, you know your Japanese football then, and the World Cup in 2002 was the first World Cup that I covered. It was a magical World Cup. I loved being in that country. And yet, ever since that World Cup, and including that World Cup, they've never been able to get past the last 16.
Never.
So for the country, it would have been hugely significant and hugely important if they could have done that tonight.
You're forgetting that they had the same problem as Spain, a bit lighter because they lost the coach. 2 weeks before, an amazing move. How could you just kick? And I spoke to Zico before coming here. As I said, Zico played there, Zico coached there, Zico still manages Kashima from a distance. And he said, look, this coach is extremely courageous. These players are special. This is a generation that has their last chance. They're mostly veteran. So what you see here is, again, another generation going away. It's Argentina generation, Portuguese generation, and it's so many generations leaving, and it hurts to see that they did their job. And an attack in the last move of the game, at least they deserve the extra 30 minutes. So what I'm trying to say is that the blow for Japan is not healthy. They are going back. They know how to lose. They are noble, as you know. They are noble. They clean stadiums after the matches. They behave well. They are fair play. But God forbid, don't they deserve that extra? This is an amazing World Cup. You love 2002? This is my 9th World Cup. This is the best ever, in or out of the pitch. This World Cup is like making us not going to sleep beyond the light that comes at 2 a.m. and you cannot biological sleep. But anyway, wow. And I'm still hot with what happened at the dressing room in Brazil, Mexico. We'll get there. But basically, I just want to say a last thing.
But Ricardo, can the Japanese not go away from this and say, wow, we have moved on so much. Yes, we haven't got through. But what we've achieved and what we've shown the world is that we're just on the cusp of that special 8, the last 8. We're just there. We're nearly there.
But
the improvement, I know, but the improvement has been absolutely wonderful.
It is. And they are less and less becoming an elephant cemetery.
Yeah.
What I mean.
Yeah.
It's not anymore old players going there. Now they're going to Qatar and China. In Japan, you have good players, and you have less foreigners ever this season. So you talk about the Japanese football that needed this little injection of energy, of adrenaline. They needed to go ahead at least a bit more, as Mark said, than the past. But I think that the blow is big. I know them. They take it to the heart, and you know what happened?
Sincerely, they shouldn't take it to the heart. They shouldn't.
But you're a professional.
They were magnificent tonight. Magnificent.
But you're a professional. I'm not. They are going to say, we don't have the courage. We had 2-0 and we were not able to be brave. That's why the national team was called the Blue Samurais, to try to bring them to whatever they missed all the time since 2002. The courage. They don't believe. I was speaking to Tokyo. I spoke to you during the game. People in Tokyo, when there was 1-0, they were happy. When there was 2-0, you know what they said? Something, we didn't believe we could score 2 goals. So they scored the second goal and they're afraid. They cannot hold. They know, oh my God, if I miss the goal. Oh my God, if I suffer the first one. So they have a psychological problem. And I will remind you that Zico, when he coached Japan, he was tremendously frustrated because he said, you know, they have everything, discipline, they have the basis, they have the knowledge. The only thing they don't have is the capacity of understanding that football, you play with your soul, not by the book. And unfortunately, it seems that the book is not helping. I agree with you, but still, it's like saying Neymar shouldn't do whatever he's doing. You know what education he had? He didn't have our education. His values are different than ours. So if you bring 2 hairdressers here, I will cut. One for the bleaching of his hair and the other to cutting. It's the same Japan. Japan thinks different. When I saw the end of the game and Inui was hitting the floor, the pitch. He's suffering. This doesn't go away. They take it to the heart.
I've had some difficult situations in broadcasting, but controlling Ricardo and Chris Sutton could well come to be one of the hardest things I've had to do. Chris, you're still in the stadium?
Yep, we're still here, taking stock.
Are you?
I said honestly,
Ricardo made the really interesting point actually about the honour of the Japanese team, but also of the Japanese fans, and I thought that was it said a lot about the team and the supporters, how they reacted at the end.
Yeah, I mean, they must be absolutely heartbroken from that position. I think it would have been the first time ever they would have, they would have qualified for the quarterfinals. They would have made history. It was in their hands, but they have done themselves proud. And we won't go back into what happened against Poland. We'll just talk about what happened tonight. They made this game what it was. We all turned up, and I know we sort of joke about underdogs, this, that and the other, But Belgium, when you look at their lineup, I think we expected Belgium to blow Japan away, but there's something about this World Cup, like no other World Cup that I can remember, that the underdogs, the fight with the nations we would describe as the smaller nations, the nations we don't expect to win, it's been incredible. This is the greatest World Cup ever, and to be in the stadiums and witness this, it is surreal.
Why did they take that corner like they took it at the end?
Because they were being positive. It's what they did all match, and I can understand there will be people out there who will say, well, you know, they shouldn't have risked at their side, they should have gone into extra time, but they got themselves in front 2-0 in the game by being brave. That was their attitude. From the off, they pressed Belgium high. I didn't think they were going to do that. I didn't think that they were going to be that brave going into the game. But it was their positivity which got them in front. Their weakness was their goalkeeper. The goalkeeper for the first goal, he should have come out and caught the earlier cross. Had he done that, then Vertonghen wouldn't have scored. You know, he's 35 years old. I've seen him play for Dundee United in Scotland, and he cost Dundee United massively. Big game, big World Cup, and that was the turning point in the game. It gave Belgium hope at that particular time, and I think that was their downfall, the goalkeeper.
Terry, do we give Belgium credit for a couple of things? First of all, Roberto Martinez made the changes. Fellaini scored, Chadley scored. It put even more big men on, actually, to try and capitalise on the aerial threat. And actually, as we're speaking at the moment, the Japanese fans have got their blue bin bags and they are tidying up the stadium before they leave, which is always absolutely remarkable. So you give the manager credit, first of all, for the substitutions.
Yes, I've written down here, the substitutions changed the game because they changed the shape a little bit in terms of personnel. Hazard came out to the left-hand side. They had a massive height advantage. But I've got it also written down here, eventually their spirit came through. And we talked about that, Chris talked about that before the game, about their so-called great spirit. Well, it had to come through sooner or later, otherwise they were going to go out with a whimper. But it did come through with the changes as well.
The other thing, Romelu Lukaku could have been getting criticism for a couple of chances that he missed. But if you watch the final goal...
he makes two runs.
He makes two runs, and he makes one run to allow De Bruyne to make the pass out wide. He brings it, draws the defender, and then he makes a second run and does the dummy.
There's a dummy for Chadley. He knows Chadley's there. They're the two best things he did all game because he missed some absolute sitters.
Well, what does that tell you though about Lukaku? And did Martinez said he wasn't say that he wasn't interested in the Golden Boot? He was interested in winning the World Cup.
Yeah.
And that little dummy, there are many strikers out there who would have probably been greedy and tried to score for themselves. That was brilliant team play.
It was a great team goal. He knew there was Chadley behind him, and he knew he had a better chance, so he left it. But he made two great runs. You know that. So you saw that, Chris. Sort of runs you used to make many years ago when you were about 12. But he makes the two runs and he dummies it, and wow, it's a great feeling. But why did Japan put the ball in the box? Why did they put it in the box? People will ask that question forever, but they're just being honest. They're just trying to win the game. They're being positive. They think they can win the game. And for me, that's a great mentality. Great mentality to have.
Terry, could you see Japan playing an offensive game, an attractive game, a technical game? Did they play well when they strike?
I think second half in particular, that was absolutely fantastic. Good. First half they were a little bit tentative, no real threat in the final third, but they came out at half time. They were positive. They were a different attacking team. The movement and everything better than Belgium. Belgium was sloppy and lazy. The start, and in the end,
that's what I'm trying to say. What Japan did,
played lovely football.
Exactly, they played lovely football. They play offensive football. They scored goals in a beautiful way, not just a foul or a penalty or a crossing. They scored moving ball goals, that we call in Brazil, which means the goals were nice, beautiful. They created more opportunities. So it is in the defense that we see the problem. It is in the stressful situations when they are striking. it seems like they are free to create, and that creativity brings options. And we saw 2 or 3 opportunities that they missed the goal. But when they lost the ball, comes the desperation. I'm talking about this desperation and all this stress, because at the end, doesn't look like Belgium really had an amazing superiority. It was Japan that lacked the manhood, I want to call it, to defend as real fighters. It seems to me, because I'm sensitive to this. We Brazil have an emotion problem.
Like Uruguay.
Voila.
Uruguay.
Voila.
If they defended like Uruguay, they do really well.
Thank you.
Talk about the beautiful goals that Japan scored, but then what changed the game? You've already touched on it. Is there a worse player as a defensive team to see getting stripped on the bench than Fellaini and Belgium?
Good one.
You know, you talk about the beautiful game. They won it ugly, didn't they? If you like, cross balls in. You know, they have players who can pick that pass. They have that creativity. But you have to credit Martinez for sticking Fellaini on. He's the best player, I think, in the world in both boxes. It's just what's in between where he struggles.
I think they should call him Red Adair. He comes in, fights fires.
Will Brazil be worried about Belgium, Ricardo?
Of course. And, there is a very, very, very long story. 2002 was the first. I forgot the name of this Belgian player, the famous one in 2002, the striker, the captain, who became a coach.
But in 2002,
who was the
Koolmans?
Koolmans?
No.
Go on, keep going with your story. I'm going to Google away.
They lost to Brazil. Thank you very much.
That's all right, no problem.
That's not my job.
It's free of charge.
I know to talk about samba and caipirinha. So, which Tite is having a big one now, because there was a big stress over there with the coach of Mexico. So, the match against Turkey, the second match of Brazil against Turkey, was clearly wrong decisions by the referees. Turkey didn't deserve to lose. Brazil was not a side that deserved to be the champions in 2002. But against Belgium, there was a move that was clearly wrong, spotted by the referee. And at the end, Brazil won Belgium. But this player, I'm trying to remember, said clearly, well, it's Brazil. Which means Belgium is an opponent that Brazil had always trouble with. Belgium is a team today.
Mark Wilmots is here.
Wilmots. Merci beaucoup.
I did say that, Mark. You didn't listen.
Sorry, I don't know who's talking. Keep going, Ricardo.
So what I'm trying to say that Belgium is a lot harder than Japan. Japan would shiver in front of Brazil, because the masters of Japan are Brazil, but they would play, I would say, a bit lighter. If they lose, they lose. Belgium, no. Belgium are going for the game of their life, of the dynasty, of history, of the Flemish and the French Belgium. I don't want to be racist.
No.
Okay? They are going to come with the king, with the prince, with the PP statue there, the urinating boy. They are going to come with everything and everybody, and the Diamonds of Antwerpen. They will bring all they have. But I think it's going to be a beautiful game, because two teams play open and wise.
You forgot Hercule Poirot and Tintin.
That's right, Hercule Poirot, Tintin, and green apple juice and pommes frites and mayonnaise.
Cut that, stop that.
So what's happened today then? What's happened today after Brazil-Mexico? What do you know? Is this confirmed?
It was a very difficult game. Two very different schools, as we call, different philosophies in the pitch. Mexico, they have a very... People don't remember that. Their lungs, due to the fact that they play in the heights, they have more capacity to run, and they use that. Secondly, they know how we think. They know that if they mark us in our defense, we lose a little bit. But today it didn't work, because they were too much focused on Neymar. 5 moves that if I was Blatter today or Infantino, I would really be angry, because a player like Mexican Guardado took Neymar and lifts him up, hugging him. This is completely unfair play. But I think that Brazil today had something amazing. Neymar took out the bleach of his hair. He played in a mature way, more than other games. William woke up finally. William played today like a leader. Coutinho had his worst game, and Jesus played a very important tactical game. But, I repeat, without William today, we would not be able to calm things down. What caught my attention that Mexico was worried about something else. They were worried about how to stop Brazil, not how to score. And the goalkeeper of Brazil today had 10 kicks to the goal of Brazil. Only one was between the posts. So Brazil had a pace, a tranquility, and what really caught my attention was, and I'm jumping from the game to the backstage, is that by the minute 75, as you count, we count second half 30, Neymar simply holds the ball, stops, touch to Coutinho, he stops. They wanted to keep the pace and think before they do. They didn't run, they didn't rush, they were not under pressure with the 1-0. And then Firmino comes in, and that's the adrenaline that we all expect from the bench.
And lots of people, though, for the praise that Ricardo has given to Neymar, and Ricardo can come back in a minute, Chris, a lot of people have criticised Neymar today, and I'll say what the Mexican manager, Juan Carlos Osorio, said. He said, we wasted a lot of time for one single player. It's a real shame for football. There was a situation where there was a 4-minute stoppage. It is a very negative example for all the children following this game. It should be a strong sport. There shouldn't be so much acting. That had an impact on our pace. Chris first, and then Terry, and then Ricardo.
Well, I mean, we all watched the same game. Neymar's a disgrace. I mean, he is. We should be talking about what a great footballer he is. But since he's been in this World Cup, I mean, game after game, we covered his first game against Switzerland, and Switzerland paid him very close attention, as all teams do, because that's what good players get. World-class players, you cannot give them time on the ball. So he's getting special attention. But, I mean, all he's been is theatrical. I can't remember the team where he threw himself down in the box, tried to buy a penalty. Football fans around the world, Costa Rica, there you go. Football fans around the world will think Neymar, they will be calling him a cheat. And do you know what? It's very hard to argue with that. Terry?
Well, I did a Neymar count today about how many times he went onto the ground, because he has gone down a lot. It was only 8 today. Two of those were bookings. 2 of those were bad challenges, which you can understand. But then just the one incident when he was on the sidelines, I think that's what Osorio was talking about. Which I think it only takes one incident, and I think the world would, honestly, Ricardo, the world would have looked at that and would have said, "What is he doing? What is he doing?"
He's giving Brazil a bad name, Terry.
He gives football a bad name by doing that, and I think he doesn't need to do something like that. He doesn't need it. I think he needs somebody to grab hold of him and just say, "Come on, what are you doing? What are you doing?" Now, he did right with his hair. You're right, Ricardo. When he changed his hair, he looked like a real top class footballer in terms of his appearance and everything else. Too many tattoos for my liking, but anyway, it's a different story. But
you're a different generation, so haircuts and tattoos are utterly irrelevant to whether. Well, then you're an old man as well, because haircuts and tattoos make no difference to how good a footballer. Well, I can.
45. I'm only 45.
Well, I'm 44, but
you
sound ridiculously old if you think haircuts or tattoos affect someone's ability to play football.
No, but we never said that. I don't like them. I don't like them.
Well, yeah, but
it doesn't make you a bad player or a good player.
But it influences the image on your judgment.
But I don't like them. But that's my own opinion. Yes, and I'm saying he's not a bad footballer because he's got spaghetti in his hair or because he's got this and that.
You can't criticise him because he has tattoos or a haircut that you don't like.
Yeah, but we're not.
No, it's my opinion.
I know it's your opinion.
He can do whatever he wants. That's his right. But if he doesn't play the way that the manager says or the manager likes, or I'm not keen on, then I'm going to say that.
Yes.
Okay. So what I can tell you is that we all are saying our opinion, our judgment, and we are entitled to. Terry, Mark, Chris, everyone who's listening to us, and we have opinions. For example, I find myself extremely sexy with my aerodynamic bald head. What can I do? Some people find it ugly.
You've got tattoos.
And I have a tattoo, which I did in Panama. Raw soccer, you see. But that's nothing. Let's talk about facts. I don't want to know your opinion. I mean, I want to know because I praise you and I'm very proud to be here with you. This is my 6th World Cup at BBC. But with all due respect, let's talk about facts. The number 1 most fouled, which means referee whistling, is Neymar. Second, Neymar today just went ahead of Romario and Garrincha in the list of best scorers ever. Ahead of Neymar today, it's only Zico, Ronaldo and Pelé. More.
Well, let's talk about facts. Neymar is the biggest diver at this World Cup.
Okay, I agree. We call him Kai, fall, the kid that dives. Even the prices in Brazil, which are going down, thanks to the government, the prices are Neymarized because they are going down. I agree with you, boys. Not a problem. But with all due respect, there is a story of Peter and the Wolf. You know, Peter calls everyone because his father was a hunter. Wolf, wolf, wolf. He wants the attention. There was no wolf. The hunter say, ay, bad boy. And he does it twice. Third time, there was never a wolf. Fourth time, there was a wolf. Nobody believed. Neymar is a hostage of himself. Not only for the tattoos, but for the champagne that he drinks, for the girlfriend, for the social medias, for the 2 yachts, for the 2 helicopters, for the 2 jets, for the 5 houses. Fine. Boys and girls, he doesn't have the same upbringing that we had. He has another set of values. That's why he gives the Lambretta dribble, taking the ball in the end of the match with Costa Rica. That's why he said today, you know what? They kicked me, they stepped on me. Fine, they can say whatever they want. They can even say football is not a game for men. But they won't going home. I like that. You know what? I like Maradona, even him being not a good example, and being with cocaine, and the hand of God, and giving bad water to Branco in 1990 that made Branco feel dizzy. I hate the guy, but without him, World Cup and football will be boring. Neymar is a reason to smile. Barcelona kids are crying until now because all the posters of last year's season had to be changed by Rakitic picture. Imagine, what's the impact of a Neymar and a Rakitic in the superstar of Barcelona. What I'm trying to say is that we all, British, Italian, Japanese, Bolivian, poor Dutch that are not here, Italian are not here, they need Neymar. They need Ronaldinho looking to the left and passing to the right. They do this because they enjoy.
But we need a Neymar. Yes, we need a Neymar. But not a Neymar that dives and does all the histrionics.
He will improve.
Well, I hope he does, because I hope someone actually says to him, you don't need to do that.
But he doesn't do it in purpose. Today he was stepped on. He showed the journalist.
Of course he does it on purpose.
Wait. He didn't got stepped by the Mexican then. Is someone saying he's not being stepped?
But you've admitted he dives the most of any player.
I'm worried.
Why does he need to dive? Because he's got the ability, he's got the pace, he's got the skill to go past people.
Because he's fed up with being kicked. Messi is also kicked and he doesn't...
He can go past people, doesn't need to be kicked. He can leave them for dead.
I agree, but the kid is simply not educated enough to have another weapon to defend. Maybe in his mind, his neurons and protons and atoms and whatever he has in his mind, and US dollars and euros, doesn't make him decide that there is another way. And you know what? You agree with me, and I respect you so very much.
I do agree with you, yes.
Yes, that today he played better than Serbia, better than Costa Rica, better than Switzerland. And I think that William felt that. That's why he was free. And Coutinho played less. Why? Because Neymar played more.
Can you answer me this, right?
Even.
When William passed the ball across, and he scored, he went away from William to the side, and it was all about him. It was. Okay. So then when he shot, Ocha saved it, and it went to Firmino, who put it in the net.
Correct.
Firmino came to him. So why didn't he, when he scored, go to William and say thank you very much?
Because we have a problem, right? You're totally right. You know, just to finalize, who cried after the goal of Neymar against Costa Rica? We win finally a game, and he makes it about him. We have a problem. And 6 years ago, if you remember, the coach of Jamaica, René Simoes, remember the Jamaica boy, the reggae boys in 98? He said it 5 years ago. We are creating a monster. And he is a monster. We have a problem with that. But we are not depending on Neymar. Bear with me. We don't depend on him.
No, you don't.
How great is that?
Okay. Terry, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you an old man. I apologise for that.
No, I shall see you after this broadcast.
I know, I'm really sorry. You're a former England captain. I have massive respect for you. Chris, I did mean to call you an old man, without a shadow of a doubt. And I've just been sent a message that you're getting your hair cut in Rostov tomorrow. Is that right?
Yeah, if it's cheap enough.
Neymar
my
has a
haircut normally costs
hairdresser.
£8. Yeah, it does, his hairdresser, he doesn't charge him £8.50, or his hairdresser doesn't charge £8.50.
No.
Will you get it bleached?
Look like a llama?
Go on. Go on.
I've never had it bleached. It's going grey, but it's going grey. I'm losing my hair, and that's because of working with people like you.
Thank you very much to Chris. Honestly, Ricardo, the things we have to put up with on this radio station. Thank you, Ricardo.
Pleasure.
Terry, thank you as well for the time being.
You didn't let me speak about Argentina, my God.
I know, we'll do that another time, Ricardo.
Goodbye, young man. Goodbye, young man.
Goodbye, young boy.
More from Terry coming up a little bit later. And after 10, we're going to hear a lot more from this man. Gabby Logan's been catching up with Harry Kane.
Harry, you're on for a golden boot. 5 goals at a World Cup, captaining your country at a World Cup. You've signed a new contract with your club before you came away. Your adoring fans are delighted. Your second baby's on the way with your childhood sweetheart. You must be due a turn up in your luck and fortune soon, eh?
It's going well so far, yeah. No, it's been brilliant, obviously. Yeah, it's been a great start to the campaign, which has been amazing, enjoying every moment of it so far. So hopefully we can just continue that. And yeah, obviously excited about the baby number 2 coming along as well. So yeah, trying to focus on this first and foremost, and I'm sure the missus will make me think about that when I'm home.
A year ago or so, after the France game, you said you wanted to score 50 goals in a calendar year, and you're up to 51. You obviously quite like goal setting and saying that you're goal setting. Is that a deliberate policy of yours?
Yeah, I like to kind of just give myself little targets really, and just see how quick I can get to them. And yeah, I set myself one before the World Cup, which I'll keep to myself for now.
Are you on target?
I'm on target so far. So again, and if
are you ahead of target?
Not yet. No, I'm on target. I'm on target. But no, as long as it's important that if I get to that earlier than expected, then I've set another one. If I don't get there as quick as I wanted, then I'll just be patient and wait until I do get there. So yeah, I think it's just motivation for myself to keep myself on my toes, keep myself working hard, and yeah, just trying to be the best version of myself.
Are you the kind of person that even in a training session you're telling yourself you have to do this, you have to do that? Are you constantly kind of pushing yourself with little targets all the time?
I'm always kind of pushing myself. I'm someone who likes to play free. I don't like to think too much about other players or other opposition. I feel like if I'm free in my mind and as good as I can be on the day, then it doesn't matter kind of who I'm playing against and things like that. So yeah, I think like I said, I'm at my best when I'm just myself. I'm just happy, enjoying it, and working hard.
And yet you have the responsibility of being captain, and we know your return as captain has been incredible. You know, that hasn't put you off your scoring game, has it? So how do you kind of reconcile those two? Because that's a big responsibility, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big responsibility, but I said before when I got named captain, nothing changes in my eyes. You know, I'm still the same person, I'm still the same teammate, I'm still the same player. So for me, it's about doing my job on the pitch. What's my roles? What's my responsibilities? Of course, if anyone's got anything to talk to me or wants me to talk to the gaffer about, or if they've got problems, you know, I'm there for them. But I'm quite lucky in the aspect that we've got a team that kind of takes on that responsibility themselves. We've got enough players who will speak up if something ain't right, or if things are going well, they will talk. So for me, it's quite an easy responsibility now. I just carry on being myself.
There are a lot of vocal players, aren't there, on that pitch?
Yeah, there are, and it's important, and we've not always had that either. We all want to win, we're all determined to do well, and it's important that we have that, you know, pushing each other on the pitch when around the place, when maybe there's days where it's a bit slower than usual, training in a high tempo as usual, making sure people get back on it and focus on our job.
Because we saw that on the pitch, particularly with your penalties against Panama, because you went off somewhere mentally to get yourself completely in that zone, and there was a lot of stuff still going on around you, and Jordan Henderson was one of the players who kind of obviously went and tried to sort things out. How are you able to do that, to just completely block all that out?
Yeah, I try and just go into a zone. I have a routine that I go through in penalties that I practice, and I like to take that obviously straight into the game. So yeah, obviously there was a few players hanging around in the box and talking to the ref, trying to knock the ball out of your hands, but from that moment, obviously no one can come in the box or just wait for the ref's whistle and go from there.
Yesterday was a big day, the first day of the last 16 matches, and we saw both Ronaldo and Messi leave the tournament. It feels like there's a berth to be filled there, doesn't it? It feels like there's a new kind of king in waiting. Somebody's got to get crowned, almost.
Yeah, well, there's still a lot of top players in the World Cup, so I guess we'll wait and see who takes that. But look, two of the best players in our generation by far, so obviously weren't their year this year, so good opportunity for other players to kind of step up, and yeah, so far so good. But look, there's going to be a lot of players who do well, and for me, hopefully I can do well and the team can do well, and we go from there.
Well, best of luck against Colombia.
Thank you.
Harry Kane talking to Gabby Logan, and there'll be plenty more from Harry Kane after 10 o'clock, and more of him on the World Cup Daily podcast as well. Thank you very much for all your texts and tweets on the last half hour. A friend of mine just texted me saying, I've no idea who Ricardo is. Well, Ricardo Settien's Brazil press officer, but I love him. Anyone who can get PP Boy on the radio has to be applauded. Right then, coming up after 9:30, we'll chat all things England, but first, here's the news with Kate Holdsworth.
On digital, online, smartphone and tablet, this is BBC 5 Live.
Rescue teams in Thailand are trying to work out how they can free a group of 12 boys and their football coach from caves where they've been trapped for 9 days. They became stranded by rising water and mud. Police Scotland says it's treating the death of a young girl as unexplained. The body of the 6-year-old was found in Woodland on the Isle of Bute this morning. A man accused of plotting to kill Theresa May has told the Old Bailey his alleged plans, including an attack from the edge of space, were a fantasy. Naima Rahman, who's 20 and from North London, denies preparing acts of terrorism last year. The Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, says firefighters need more government support to tackle a wildfire on the Lancashire moors. Crews have spent 5 days trying to bring the fire on Winter Hill under control.
I'll just round up everything that happened at Wimbledon for you in the first round. On the opening day, 19-year-old Katie Swan beat the world number 36, Irina Camelia Begu. Elsewhere in the women's draw, 4th seed Sloane Stephens was knocked out by Donna Vekic. Serena Williams, Venus Williams and Caroline Wozniacki are all through. On the men's side, 8-time champion Roger Federer breezed past Dusan Lajovic. Stan Wawrinka beat the 6th seed Grigor Dimitrov in 4 sets. And away from the tennis, Graham McDowell looks set to miss tomorrow's Open Championship qualifier at St Anne's after losing his clubs following a flight from France.
5 Live Sports.
The FIFA World Cup Russia.
The next stage in England's World Cup dream sees them take on Colombia in Moscow.
They've got some outstanding individuals, but I believe it's a game we can win. It's going to be a fantastic challenge for us.
The last 16. England against Colombia.
Live commentary Tuesday night at 7 on BBC Radio 5 Live and the BBC iPlayer radio app.
Live from Russia, this is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
Welcome back, I'm Mark Chapman. For the next half hour or so, we'll be chatting all things England as they face Colombia tomorrow here in Moscow for a place in the quarter-finals. The former England captain Terry Butcher is with me. And Terry, if you're an England fan listening to this now, what would you say to that England fan?
I would say be confident, be very confident.
The rest of this pod's going to be good?
Well, yes, of course. That is, that goes without saying, doesn't it, Mark?
Yeah, obviously.
And also
I'd say stop listening now. It could go downhill from now.
Oh, no, come on. Be positive. Come on, we should be positive. I'm confident. I'm going to say I'm confident.
Why?
Are you not confident?
I'm not a very confident person, I don't think. Why is that funny?
You come across as confident, so...
No.
Come on, it's England. It's Colombia. It's a place in the quarter-finals at stake. Come on now.
Yeah, but I'm still going down this route of every single team left in this half of the draw might be thinking the same thing.
So what if they are? It's about what England think. It's not about what Colombia think.
Why are you confident?
I think if you look at the Colombian team, you look at what they've done, what they can do, I think we're better in every department. I really do.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I think we're better in every department.
When you were playing, did you ever take any note of history? Of what England teams had... Oh, that's my phone. That's very unprofessional of me, isn't it, Terry? I have my phone on.
Yeah. I think that's the History Channel just running up there.
Would you... To be honest, I'll take any gig going. Yeah, should answer it really. Did you take note of history? Did it bother you what England teams had done in previous tournaments, or whether they hadn't qualified for a tournament?
No, not about that. The thing about history, what I look back on, and not the failures, the success. 66, you're following in the footsteps of those players, and you want to be just like them. You envy them walking about. What does it feel like to be a World Cup winner? You know, it must be the best feeling in the world ever. You know, we didn't get that, we nearly got that, but you try to emulate them, you try to be the very best. But that's what you take from history, the positives, not the negatives. We haven't done this, we haven't done that. So what? Other teams haven't done this and haven't done that. You can learn a lot from history, but you don't let history affect you. You don't let history weigh you down. Yes, there's a responsibility about going out. Remember when Bobby Robson said to Gary Lineker and Peter Beardsley before the shootout in 1990, he says, "Look, don't let me down," first thing, and then he says, "Remember, there's 50 million people watching you." But they both scored the penalties, but they inspired them. But we knew what Bobby was thinking, and that was the way he went about things. He didn't deliberately worry or make you worry and all that sort of thing. He had great confidence in you. So come on, now, make your own history, which I think has been the key thing to this whole World Cup campaign from England.
But it's interesting you mentioned the penalties, because Steve Crossman, who we're going to bring in, has spoken to Gareth Southgate about the penalties, which is fair enough. But penalty shootouts, to a certain extent, are utterly irrelevant to this squad because they've never had to go through one for England. Around 2004 and 2006, I could understand the penalty conversation being relevant because they'd had to go through it a bit. Even in 96, I could understand it being relevant because several of them, Stuart Pearce in particular, had gone through it in 1990. But at the moment, whatever England's penalty shootout record is surely irrelevant for this group of players.
It doesn't affect them. This group of players are different. They've come to this stage where it might be a penalty shootout. People say, well, you can't replicate the pressure. You're just walking up and taking a penalty. The goalposts are the same. There's a net behind the goalpost and the bar and all, etc. 12 yards away, blah, blah. You just got to do what you've done before in practice. It's like golfers. The golfers go out on the range, hit the ball on the putting green, the practice putting green. No problems. Do it. Yes. But when there's a crowd there and the millions are watching on TV, people say there's another issue, but it isn't to the golfers. It isn't, because they're just on their putting green, on their practice, on their lawns at home or wherever it is. It's natural.
Repetition is the key.
Repetition is the key. Yeah, mentally and physically.
So is that why? So what did I say? Day 19. Is that why for 19 days straight you've had an omelette panini every day? Is that because is that for repetition?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's for when I have another one. Yeah.
There's a deli round the corner here in Moscow, and every day you get an omelette. Omelette panini.
It's not every day. It's called an omelette panini, but it has like egg mayonnaise. It doesn't have an omelette in it. Come on, who has an omelette panini?
Well, you do every day.
But it's the translation from Russian to English. It's not quite an omelette panini.
So it's not a massive omelette between two slices of bread?
No, it's just like egg mayonnaise in there. That's all it is. Yeah.
Okay.
And everything else, but
every day for 19 days you've had an omelette panini.
And you know why I have it? Is because when you bite it, it just comes out of the side, it oozes out of the side of the egg mayonnaise or the omelette, whatever you want. My goal is to eat this without getting any on my trousers or my shirt. So there we go.
And on day 19, have you managed that?
I have managed it now. And it just shows to the listeners, it shows you that we are going a bit stir crazy, and that we,
well, because
let's get back to football.
No, because the other thing, it's important to give insights from time to time. The other thing I've noticed in the last couple of days is you've cracked out your range of heavy metal T-shirts.
Oh, have you? Yeah, I have.
Yeah. So we had Iron Maiden yesterday. Has Kelly mentioned this or not? No. So we had Iron Maiden yesterday and Guns N' Roses today.
Yeah.
What else is AC/DC coming?
It's an interesting story. It was. When was it? Talking about John Murray, right? John Murray hasn't got an AC.
No, has not got an AC/DC T-shirt.
No, but he was in a hotel. He was in a hotel, and they played all night. There was a wedding going on or something, and all they played all night was Guns N' Roses, "Sweet Child of Mine."
Yeah.
And they played it and played it and played it. It was a wedding, and they requested it or something. So obviously, but it kept him up all night. So he hates Guns N' Roses.
Does he?
Yes. And I actually said to him, when I'm in your company, John, I want to get somebody to call me because my ringtone is "Sweet Child of Mine." What about that? What a coincidence that is.
Here's the thing, though. The night before the World Cup final.
Oh, they're here.
Guns N' Roses are playing Moscow.
That's right.
So maybe we can try and get tickets.
Yeah. And say you're going to the ballet or something.
I'd say we're going to the ballet.
Excellent.
Or, I don't know, Rick Astley. He'd probably go to see Rick Astley. So Rick Astley at Spartak Stadium, and then when we go, it's Guns N' Roses.
Gilbert O'Sullivan, I think he's more into that.
Gilbert
O'Sullivan. Something like that, yeah.
Excellent. Right, that's a plan.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Right. Steve Crossman, are you there?
I'm here. You did say it was going to go downhill, and I'm ready to help.
No, that was the peak. That was the peak. That was the highlight. To try and convince John Murray to go to a Guns N' Roses gig is the way forward.
I thought this was for level. I didn't think we were going to go. Is this recording?
Yeah. So yeah. Honestly, this is why it's
real stuff. This is real stuff.
I tell you what. Let's tell him that we're going to see a singer-songwriter whose name is Omelette Panini, and then he'll be there.
Now, the team have left you, yes? The
Yes,
England
that's
team?
right, yeah.
So how were they?
Yeah, they were great. Do you know what? I've been asked these questions loads about, how did the England team seem? And it's sort of occurred to me recently that there's only a limited amount you can say from watching 15 minutes of training 3 times a week beyond who was training and were they smiling or were they not smiling.
Yeah, but hang on. In this bright new world, you're bowling with them, playing darts with them,
right?
Maybe even having a coffee and an omelette panini with them. So come on.
We haven't got to the omelette panini level yet, but I'm hopeful of getting there before the end of the tournament.
One day.
One day. That's the ambition. That's the ambition.
But no, there's a couple of things that I have spotted over an omelette, which has been really nice to see, actually. Like, for example, there's a really good story the other day. One of the members of the Britain press was outside the England Media Hotel, and he was on like a video call to his son, and I think his son spotted that Dele Alli had just walked past in the background. So this journalist basically went up to Dele Alli, as you would, and said, listen, would you mind just sort of saying hello to my son, which is obviously kind of like the 2018 equivalent of signing an autograph.
Yeah.
And Dele Alli was on the phone with him for 10 minutes, which I just think is brilliant. And, these are the kinds of things we're seeing. When you talk to these England players, they're not edging towards the door, which obviously in conversations, Mark, I get a lot.
Yes.
Yeah, and you've probably done it yourself.
Yeah.
But it's great. And, another thing that happened is we were interviewing Fabian Delph, and somebody said, Fabian, this will be my last question. And he cut them off and said, it doesn't have to be your last question. Take as long as you want. So they're very, very relaxed, certainly.
And did Dele Alli stay quite calm whilst FaceTiming this journalist's son? Because me and Kelly were just having a conversation here today about quite how annoying it is to FaceTime your children when they're little and they don't hold the phone correctly, so you're just seeing the garden rather than them, or they're walking around and the signal's breaking up, and it's actually more frustrating than just calling them. So did Dele Alli stay quite calm?
I think he was fine, mainly because obviously he's got more in common with the youth of today than you do.
than me and Kelly, that's very true. Are there any indications on the team?
Pretty certain it is going to be the team that started against Tunisia. So that would be Pickford in goal, Maguire, Stones, Walker, the 3 centre-backs, Young and Trippier, the wing-backs, Henderson central midfield, behind Ali and Lingard, and then Kane and Sterling. And, I think it's interesting that it's so easy to make that 11 now, because it just sounds like it makes lots of sense. It's weird to think that before the Tunisia game, we were even thinking, will it be Eric Dyer or will it be Jordan Henderson? And, no disrespect to Eric Dyer, but I think that's probably an easy decision now, very easy decision for Gareth Southgate. I think Raheem Sterling is the only one that people might question whether or not he'd start, but I just think that he would have played some part, even a few minutes against Belgium when they were 1-0 down, if that position was under any threat at all.
And that's the team you've written out in front of you, Terry. Is that partly because no player sees their opportunity against Belgium?
Yes, I think wholly, not partly. I think that's right. The first 20-25 minutes against Tunisia was, some of the best football I've ever seen from an England team, to be honest. The fluidity and the adaptability, I think Sterling as well. I mean, having looked at Rashford the other night, he missed that chance as well. Not because he missed the chance, but you sort of think a confident Rashford would have put that in the back of the net. It didn't happen, and no, I don't think anyone's done enough to get into that team. I think that team has played together before, which I think is a bonus, and has played well together before. So there's no reason why it can't play well on Tuesday.
If you were in that England squad at the moment,
I wish I was.
Well, would it be only?
I'm a bit old now, but
would it be only human nature to be talking about this half of the draw and the path to the final?
You would have talked about it. You would have seen it. You would have seen all the top teams go out and things like this, but. What happens if you're in the other half of the draw, having to face Uruguay or France or Brazil and all that? Does it make you play worse because you've got a more difficult route through? No, it doesn't. It has no effect whatsoever. It's nice to look at other teams go home, but what we don't want to have is people see us go, see England go. We've done that far too early in so many competitions in the past. It's about time we had a good run and a decent run at this.
And this talk must be swirling around Rapinoe as well, though, Steve?
I mean, to be honest, there's a massive split in the journalists here, and when I say there's a split, it's basically me against everybody else, because I think that I get that a lot as well. I think Gareth Southgate has been spot on with his decisions, to be completely honest with you. I think that, you know, this whole concept of have they lost momentum is nonsense, really. I think that, you know, if you were the first choice team in a Premier League team and you had 2 games in 8 days, you wouldn't schedule a match in the middle of that period because you were worried about losing momentum. Of course you wouldn't. It's 8 days, not 6 months. And it's pretty clear to me that the squad feeling is fine, that the harmony is the same. I do only see 15 minutes of training a day, but I certainly haven't noticed any difference between training post-Belgium to pre-Belgium. And actually, one thing which I think is in England's favour is that obviously Gareth Southgate hasn't got loads of experience as a manager, but he does have experience of being in this exact position. Because I remember one of the things that happened when he was manager of Middlesbrough, team who've never ever won the FA Cup. They were in a situation one year where they were playing a quarter-final at home to Cardiff City. And everybody was saying, oh, this is Middlesbrough's chance, you know, to win the FA Cup, because the teams left in the competition were Barnsley, West Bromwich Albion and Portsmouth, and they just completely looked past that game. They lost 2-0, they were never in the game. So Gareth Southgate might not have loads and loads of managerial experience, but he knows about that situation when there is a danger of players looking past what's right in front of them.
You have just compared being at the World Cup to a possible FA Cup semi-final against Barnsley.
It was a metaphor, Mark. It doesn't have to be exactly the same. It works. I'm sure it works.
When you talk to the players and have interviewed the players, are you taught, and we'll hear from Ruben Loftus-Cheek in a little while, but are you mentioning this side of the draw? Are you asking them whether they think it's opened up? And then are they coming back with the stock line 1 game at a time?
Yeah, stock line 1 game at a time, which is kind of why you stop asking the question, because it stops becoming an interesting answer. And nobody is going to say to you, yeah, it's great, isn't it? You know, what an easy half of the draw. But, you know, deep down, there's no way that they don't realise what an unbelievable opportunity this is. And, you know, I've heard the argument as well that some people have said, oh, but, you know, Russia have beaten Spain now, so therefore Russia are a harder opponent. But, you know, that's nonsense, isn't it? If you were given the choice out of Russia and Spain, potentially in a semi-final, you would have picked Russia every day of the week. So there's no doubt the players will know what a big opportunity it is. But what Southgate's been brilliant at, I think, is he's great at just focusing these players on the mechanics of playing the game. It's almost a little bit like when you hear athletes interviewed after, you know, Olympic semi-finals. They'll say, oh, well, I'm going to go away now and I'm going to go through my processes and do the same thing that I do every time. You can kind of extrapolate what Southgate says about penalties and owning the moment of a penalty, which is not just about the kick. It's about how you put the ball down. It's about how you walk to the penalty spot. It's about what you do in every moment before you take it, to everything else that England do. You know, I think he's got the players in exactly the right frame of mind.
Well, as we said earlier, Steve Crossman has been talking to a member of the England camp, and this time, Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
From BBC Sport, this is the World Cup Daily Podcast.
Ruben Loftus-Cheek, welcome to the 5 Live World Cup Daily Podcast.
Thank you.
I want to start with your sort of growth through the England system, because Football Association puts so much work in now with young players, and I guess you're kind of one of the first sort of graduates of that. Is it almost a perfect place now for a young footballer to grow up, this England system?
Yeah, I think so. And yeah, like you said, a lot of work's been put into it, and you know, I can remember playing for England at 16 when you have the Victory Shield and you have all these different tournaments that get you ready for international football, and you see the difference, you know, between international football and you know, football at your clubs. So for me, the system has you know, really helped me develop as a player.
What's the sort of the best parts of the system, the things that have really helped you?
I think just the experience of, you know, like when you come from your club, you come into the England setup and you don't really know people, and you have to, you know, you get the people skills that you don't really, you know, people don't really see on, you know, don't really look at football, but you know, you have the people skills to get to know people, and you gel better and you play better. So that the aspect of that, and yeah, just going away for 10 to 14 days, you know, you away from home, you know, playing in these big games, and you just get used to what being a footballer's international football is like.
Do you think spending that time away when you were even younger than you are now has prepared you for this World Cup?
Yeah, because the setup is the same. Like the way you go away for an amount of time. Obviously, this is the longest I've been away, but you go away for an amount of time and you're with your players, your teammates for a long time, and there's downtime and what to do in downtime and stuff like that. So that's prepared me for this, definitely.
How much of an impact has Gareth Southgate had in that sense? I can't believe it's only 2 years since he was coaching you and you were winning Player of the Tournament in Toulon.
No, I remember that so clearly, and it's like, and Steve was there as well. So
Steve Holland.
Yeah, and we had a really good team, and I think it was a long time since we won that before that as well. So yeah, only 2 years has flown by.
What was he like with you then, Gareth Southgate, and is he any different now?
Nah, he's exactly the same. Treats everyone exactly the same, and he's always been a relaxed manager, and I think he gets the best out of everyone. He knows what it's like to be a player, and I think that's a massive advantage for Gareth. He knows how to deal with player management well.
I think it was Danny Welbeck who said to me earlier in the tournament that him and Steve Holland are a bit like good cop, bad cop. Even when you were a kid, if you like, was Steve Holland still that sort of, how shall we describe him, loud?
I think Steve, when he was at Chelsea, I don't think he had as big a job as he does here. But good cop, bad cop. Danny said that.
I think it's Danny Welbeck.
I guess you can say that. Yeah, Steve's a more loud one, and Gareth's kind of quiet and analyses stuff from afar and looks. So I guess you could say that. Yeah.
I also want to ask you about what it was like the first time you trained with Juan Cuadrado and Falcao, because you'd have been very young, and they're big names.
Yeah, I can't remember the first training session, but I remember when Juan came in and he was so sharp. And in training, he'd do some fantastic stuff, but obviously didn't get the opportunities at Chelsea, and he's gone, went to Juventus and done so well. So he's a massive threat for us. And Radamel Falcao, he was the same. He was sharp. He's one of the best headers of the ball I've seen, and for his height, he gets up well. So yeah, they're both threats for us.
It didn't obviously work out at all for Falcao in England, but he's been so good everywhere else. Can you kind of put your finger on why that might have been?
I'm not sure. You see it happen sometimes in the Premier League, with foreign players, and you don't know. It could be off the pitch, it could be, settling in a different city, different country, or it's a different game in the Premier League, on the pitch. So you never know what's going on in people's lives, but you just couldn't tell.
First thing I think I thought when I saw Cuadrado play for the first time is just rapid. I mean, he's something else, isn't he?
Yeah, the speed and the sharpness. It was him and Willian who are like just absolutely rapid. Like you could anticipate where they're going, go that way, and they still get there before you. So yeah, really sharp and a really good player.
Please tell me you've told the England wing backs about this.
Oh, they know already. We've seen enough videos.
Good luck. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
We love you getting in touch with us here on the World Cup Daily. Well, when I say we, I like you getting in touch with us. Kelly rather prefers to remain a little bit aloof. But Simon Warren sent us a message through with the subject, "You flooded my garden." He says, "I've listened to every episode while I water my garden." Open brackets, not a euphemism, close brackets. My garden isn't that big, so 35 to 40 minutes of my hose pipe being trained on my raspberries, again not a euphemism, has given me the most sodden greenery in the land. I would imagine now you're probably not allowed to use your hose pipe for a while, so that might dry it out. But he's so interested with what we're doing, he loses his concentration.
Does he?
Mark?
Yes.
Is this a dream, or is this this is really happening, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Just checking. No, it's fine. Please continue.
These messages are passed on and I read them out, Steve. That's how it's worked. That's how it works.
Well, he's got a phone, one of the, like a smartphone. So the smartphone's got a clock on there, so he can actually set a timer. So the timer goes off when he takes it off.
Yeah, well, there's lots. Yes, there are lots of things he could be doing, but I think he finds himself so engrossed in your insight.
Well, did he think this was a helpline? When
I don't know. Okay. I only read them out.
Okay, right, good.
Terry, are you okay?
I'm fine. Yeah, I think the omelette panini's gone right to my head.
I think it might have done. Stay away in future.
Steve, give me some insight on Colombia, please. God.
Oh, I can give you some of that. So I've been speaking to the Colombian FA quite a bit actually in the last few days, and they've been remarkably open about James Rodriguez. I've never spoken to them before, so I sort of sent this really hopeful email which kind of said,
hang on, Steve, hang on. Mark Pugac has just walked in. You all right? No, it's for the podcast. You all right?
Oh, sorry, I'm interrupting your podcast.
That's all right.
No, you can interrupt anything. You're one of the team. Well, you were one of the team.
I haven't seen you for ages. What are you doing in this tournament? Right, you need to put your head in the microphone in front of your mouth.
Hello.
Hello.
Is this how it works?
Yeah. You all right?
You remember that, do you?
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
This is quite fun. I wanted to say goodbye to Terry because I wasn't going to see you tomorrow because you're going to the game.
Yes, going to the game.
Yeah. Come on, England.
Yes, come on, England.
You're going to run on the pitch.
I'll be on the pitch.
Pitch side.
Yeah,
I know you're pitch side. I've been told you are.
Testing the pitch out, seeing what stud it requires, etc., and see if it's greasy or not, or
excellent.
whatever.
Am I allowed to say it's live on ITV, or will you throw me out?
Always working. Always working. Right, good to see you.
Bye.
Bye. Good to see you.
Steve Crossman, back to Colombia.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, James Rodriguez. Remarkably open Colombian FA people who were very happy to tell me exactly sort of in a running commentary what was happening with James Rodriguez. So they got back to me a little bit earlier today, about 10 minutes before a press conference in which the manager Jose Pekerman said he could play. To be honest, and Terry will probably have a better insight than I do into this, but I actually think it's good for England if he does play, because we know he's not 100% fit. So surely, Terry, you must have played against a big team or a big nation. Their big star isn't quite at it. But if it's all flowing through that player and they're not 100%, that's got to be great for England, hasn't it?
Well, it has. But what you try to do, like you hear reports about him not playing, or he could play, or he's missed training, or but he's certainly going to give it right up to the last minute, etc., etc. So you take it that he's going to play. So you prepare yourself mentally, right? He's going to play, and whatever condition he's in when he plays, you have to treat him as if he's 100% fit. But because he's the enemy, you've got to try and stop him by any means that you can, and you've got to eliminate him by attacking. Attacking is the best form of defence, etc., etc. So if he's not fit, that's his problem. It's not England's problem, because you just treat them as an opponent and you just get on with it. It's like, it doesn't put the fear of God into you. No one does that. You just got to make sure you eliminate him like the rest of the team. But I have to say, you journalists get Dele Alli walking past you, we get Mark Pugac coming in. What about that?
Listen, Terry, if you're asked as many times about Mark Pugac's thigh as I've been Dele Alli, then you can talk to me.
I don't want to bring his thigh into it here.
I think we'll leave that there. Thank you very much, Steve.
Cheers, Steve.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much to my guests Terry Butcher and Steve Crossman. And if you want to